No, it's diet soda. It's not going to...
That's much less messy, thank you.
Much less messy, yeah.
Less messy.
Pour.
Pour one out for one's homies. Anyway, we meet again, Internet. And this time, things aren't going to be as pleasant. Especially for you, because when you came up with your worst list, you were just agonizing over the place. Mm-hmm. You were just agonizing over the list.
I was kind of fuming.
Mm.
It is much harder to make the worst list than it is the best list for this.
For this year, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially given the movies you two chose to see for this show.
Mm-hmm. We always go. The rule is we always go to the movie that looked like it'll have the most interesting discussion.
Yes.
Sometimes that means going to the worst movie of the two,
Mm-hmm.
but we never leave that movie. We hopefully never leave the movie not having anything much to say about it.
Yes.
So that's sort of the MO for the show. But that leaves us watching quite a few stinkers. Needless to say, we were spoiled for choice. No use pussyfooting around. Dishonorable mentions?
Yes, and keep in mind, I don't follow these guys with Saves Versus for the entire year, so I have no obligation to see all these bad movies. So once again, our list should be somewhat different between these two and myself. Just a little bit of diversity, give you a full range of the minefield that was 2016 and the horrible films to be avoided. We're going to start off with dishonorable mentions, you said?
Mm-hmm. Dishonorable mentions.
Unless you have any honorable.
Oh, wait, before we go,
I was going to say,
before we do anything,
yes, indeed.
We do have a special little thing for the best worst movie of 2016, and that is one of our personal favorite riffing moments.
It's one that just slipped in right the last moment.
Yes.
That we rented.
Mm-hmm. Kevin Spacey in 9 Lives. Good God. That is a hilariously awful movie.
Oh, yes.
It is. If you want to have a bad movie night, get 9 Lives, laugh your asses off, just have fun with the movie. It's a movie that just celebrates itself along with you.
I will not begin a discussion on it because we would spend the entirety of this video going over the beautiful, wretched mess that this movie is.
It's like the bad CG.
Horrible CG cat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It is just a delight.
It is just
needlessly casting Kevin Spacey as the voice actor and actor.
Uh-huh.
Somebody cashed in some mob checks on this one.
Mm-hmm. Just you will not be left unsatisfied if you're a bad movie aficionado. But that's the only bit of positivity we're going to have for tonight, unfortunately.
Yes,
get on with your dishonorable mentions.
I shall. There's going to be a bit of a surprise right off the gap here, but we're going to let me ease everybody into it. My dishonorable mentions are dishonorable primarily because these are technically not wide releases. They were released on streaming platforms first. So among those, first of all, is All the Way, which is an HBO film. It was originally a one-man show or an off-Broadway production of Bryan Cranston playing Lyndon Baines Johnson, the president. It was one of his first things he did after Breaking Bad. Huge acclaim on it. So HBO was like, we can make a movie out of that. They were wrong. I don't know if it worked on stage and it didn't work on a movie, but All the Way is just 100 minutes of facial prosthetic theater. Everybody is acting bad. Cranston's okay. It's just the script doesn't seem right. It doesn't work, and it just seems so much prognosticating, and it's amateur hour at political fun fact theater.
It wouldn't be the first time that a stage adaptation to film fell flat on its face.
True, but never so in such a interesting way as this one did.
But they kept stage acting for the film?
A little bit of stage acting, particularly from Cranston, but it was just. It's disappointing.
Nothing pisses me off like stage acting when you have a camera right up against their face.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to...
Don't, please.
There's something about presidents that inspires the most high school dramatist and even the most celebrative actors.
Mm-hmm. And everyone's trying to be Brian Blessed when they don't need to. Good show!
Just a wreck of what must have been a decent, or at least watchable, stage production. Pity Bryan Cranston. His career has not gone in the best direction since. But he's going to be Zordon, so... Next dishonorable mention, one you remember seeing, Gabe. This was released on Netflix only, to my knowledge. It's Hush. Now, we began Best Of with me saying that it was a very good year for horror, and I stand by that point. The exception being that we had some real stinkers in Hush, while critically lauded by a lot of people, which was why Gabe and I saw it late one night. It just doesn't work fundamentally. Never built up any scares, and it wastes a really good conceit. For those of you that don't know, Hush is a home invasion movie where the person being invaded in their house is deaf.
So it's literally
It's a double victimization kind of
like don't breathe.
setup.
This had a lot of merit. This could have been really good.
But you will never get on my bad list faster than if you waste a high concept. And home invasion with a deaf person, high concept, nothing done with it. They go against it in the late movie, and it has one of the worst fake outs I've seen in quite some time. You recall at one point she's killed but not killed, and we just groaned. And it's the least effective horror villain I've seen in quite some time.
And they had great opportunities for comedy
so
in the beginning, especially in the beginning, where he finds out that she's deaf while he's trying to break in.
Yeah.
He stabs her new friend.
Yeah.
Right outside the glass door. And also, this place has like all these glass walls. Well, I don't know, was it just a lot of glass doors?
Well, yeah, sliding glass doors.
A lot of windows.
Yeah.
Just because she's deaf and can see, but and I'm sorry, I know I'm kind of
please
hitchhiking here, but was really what I hated most about the film was the fact that he starts a game with her. That's basically, I can come in at any time because you live in a glass house, but I'm not going to. And that's as far as the rules go. Just because they wanted a way to be able to shoot through the walls and explain how he doesn't just go in there and murder her.
Yeah.
That sucked. But in the beginning, there's this point where he's stabbing her new friend and right up against the door, making loud noises, really obviously. And she's not noticing, so he just kind of opens the door up, walks inside, right behind her. It's just kind of like, It's like, nothing. And take it away. There's so much you could have done, but they do nothing.
Wasted opportunity is the tagline of this movie.
Brought in to cast a stomp or something.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't want to step on the discussion here a little bit, but when you first said hush, I thought you were going to make the Flash Gordon joke. Hush. Ah!
No, that
No, I was
doesn't work.
gonna,
No.
Hush.
Ah!
Nah, don't work. Don't work.
Anyway.
Save the Queen references for where they have most impact.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's the surprise. Last dishonorable mention that didn't get in here just barely into my worst of. Captain America Civil War.
Whoa! Dishonorable mention.
Dishonorable mention.
If anybody...
I thought I
expected him.
This is Marvel fatigue right here, and while I wouldn't characterize my reaction to this movie as Marvel fatigue, it is some severe Marvel apprehension, because Civil War...
How bad was your theater experience, by the way, if it was worse than ours?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely
Really?
nothing wrong with my theater experience.
Okay.
But what this movie read to me as is my main... why I don't follow a lot of long-running main superhero comics, is that we're hitting a point here where the franchise, the universe, and the brand is being prioritized over the individual film, over the now. We're stabbing the present for the sake of the future, for what is to come. And Civil War is the Russo brothers, so it's not like we're working with the B Squad and Marvel here. And yet, this plotline, which is the continuation of Winter Soldier, my favorite Marvel film still, is sacrificed on the altar of the airport scene. A bloodless, largely mock kind of, lacking any impact, major scale fight, which is beautiful to behold, but at the same time lacks any real needing to exist and no real resonance beyond War Machine getting hit, which we know he'll recover at a future time. We're not going to go see it now because we have so many other things to look at. This is a series of bullet points to appease fanboys first, and a story second. Spider-Man needs to get in there because Spider-Man has a movie to come out. We need to do this and add Spider-Man to the formula. It's done well. It's fun. But it's not there for any organic reason. It's there because it needs to factor into another movie. Black Panther is there. great character. I'm very much looking forward to that movie, and he is hamstrung into this tiny little corner of the movie because he needs to be there so that they'll recognize him when this individual movie comes out and add into the formula here. And it feels like I'm reading and can see the math behind it all.
So you're basically saying you can see the Matrix.
I feel like I'm seeing the code, yeah. And even pre-existing characters like Scarlet Witch and Vision have a romance subplot that's meant to be a much longer affair that has this kind of house arrest, Stockholm syndrome vibe that happens in the D plot of the movie, and it's a formula at this point. And yes, it's a laughable point, and you reached there much sooner than I did. But at this point, it feels like when I'm reading a comic, one of the big event comics, I need to go and look at all of the sideline comics of characters I don't care about in order to feel completely invested in this one. And this was not meant to be an Avengers movie. This wasn't the team up. It's Avengers 2.5 unnecessarily. And I just left thinking, like, this is the loose thread that eventually unravels the sweater. This is where it starts to all fall apart, ultimately.
For me, that's Age of Ultron.
Why don't you both get a room?
There are elements I loved. The visual experience of this movie was still there. It was still fun and entertaining. But at the end of it, it just feels like this is a design for world building first and entertainment second.
Well, that's why I'm more than willing to give like the movies that are coming out, like for the B characters, that are their own standalone story, like Guardians of the Galaxy. No interlacing between anything that's happening in the Marvel universe so far, or at all. The only connecting thread is the Benicio del Toro character.
Yep.
And that's it. Otherwise, it's its own movie, which I would rather prefer it that way.
And I'm still looking forward to Black Panther, and I'm still looking forward to a lot of these side movies here. But the big tentpole come together movies feel like the big come together comics, where if you've read comic books for any extended period of time, you know rarely, if ever, meet expectations.
Should they not be doing them?
I feel they're necessary, I suppose. I mean, that's the building up to a point, and that's really their top grossers. So if they need to keep putting together these massive productions, then they need to keep putting together these massive productions. These will ultimately have to exist. I don't know how to improve them. I don't see a road to
can it really be improved? I mean, sure, everything can be improved.
Yeah.
But was it really that bad considering what they had that it was necessary? Or was it because it was necessary?
That's the problem. It's not a bad movie. It's a necessary evil, and it's the necessity of all these stopgap points and all these sacrifices that is why it's on my dishonorable mentions.
Well, from that perspective, I can see, like, you can get annoyed with the fact that, like, I know why that's there. Not for the movie's sake, but for the franchise's sake.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be thinking about a franchise, you want to be thinking about the movie that you're watching.
Precisely.
Also, Captain America, this is where I'll move into your point of view, is that it was, as a bring it all together, Super Friends thing, may as well have, it wasn't really Captain America, it may as well have been Avengers. Civil War.
Yeah,
how was that a Captain America movie? Because I'm not even sure if he had. Okay, he must have had the most screen time.
He did,
but not by much.
Yeah.
No, Iron Man just kind of.
Yeah, and he really stole the movie with his, and that's part of why this was so high on my list, was realizing the arc of his character. And going back and watch, no, not necessarily watching them, but, going over the plot points from the first to the third to this, and realizing all these things about his character that make him so in-depth compared to many others.
I'll grant you that.
The guy is fucking insane by this point.
A little bit.
He should not be functional, but he is.
Last thing I'll say about it, I'll put it to bed with this, is saying, if I am reverse engineering your formula logic this much, I should leave the theater with Disney shares, is all I'm saying.
At this point, I think Disney's just kind of burying their own lead, as it were.
Yeah.
Like, they want everyone to go see their movies. But if everyone goes sees their movies, then there's just going to be that diminishing return because people just get tired of it.
Yep.
They'll always get tired of something. For the most part, it hasn't happened yet, but will it happen before they can finish Infinity War?
Probably. Keep tuned.
Yeah. So, but for moving on to your dishonorable mentions, I have a few of my own, and I'll start with my most recent one I haven't written down yet, but I feel like I need to speak my mind on it.
There's always a chance to Remedy before.
Remedy before, but first stop, the Neon Demon.
I thought so.
The Neon Demon, I'll say this about the movie.
It's another one that we just watched.
Another one we just watched, by the way, so still kind of fresh in my mind. I understand what it is attempting to do. I realize that it's not a movie so much about it's not a movie about a story so much as it's an experience. It is a window into a moving painting, considering the use of the use of colors and the use of lighting and the use of not real character movement, but rather like it's almost like watching the director. I forget his name.
Nicholas Winding Refn.
Mm-hmm.
He directed Drive and Only God Forgives.
Mm-hmm. And it just feels like he's moving his actors like on a chessboard. They always move in these extremely deliberate and extremely, they're moving for the eye of the camera. And you might consider that like that's artistry and
it's
that's
apropos considering they're in the modeling profession.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The movie is about models, and you can make the argument that everything that was done in the movie was done deliberately and done for the intended mood and the intended atmosphere. To which I would argue that if you're going to ask me to look at something for 2 hours, you better get me invested in what's going on. And it just wasn't. I mean, you could say it's thematically appropriate that it's, this thin veneer of what looks, it's a thin veneer of artistry hidden behind and with nothing behind it, considering it's models. Like, they're supposed to be beautiful, but, the stereotype is there's nothing really beyond them. And you could say that they're transposing that theme onto the movie, to which I would say, well, that's a nice, interesting theme, but an interesting movie that does not make. So, from that perspective, it's a beautiful piece of boredom. It's a beautiful piece of boredom. Except for that ending, which I find to be hilariously awful.
I took some sort of morbid delight in the ending, yes.
Yeah, but
which we won't go into.
We won't go into detail, but I will say this.
So let me go into detail about the ending.
But I will say this. You remember the ending to Hannibal? All right. But moving on to my next...
would you say Under the Skin of 2016?
Yes, but with less funnier moments.
Oh, yeah.
But,
you killed me on Under the Skin, man.
Yeah, like...
I've never had to try so hard not to laugh in a theater.
I mean, they both have these long, protracted moments of silence, so that way you could riff and not miss a goddamn thing. But there's not really that much to work with on a scene-by-scene basis like there is in Under the Skin, which is really saying something, because most of that movie is just Scarlett Johansson just kind of wandering around the Scottish countryside in a truck.
Yeah.
But beside the point, back to my listed dishonorable mentions, Warcraft was...
I understand.
Warcraft, talk about a movie that tried to get everything right, and yet it amounted to just 2.5 hours of nothing. I mean, like, my knowledge of the lore notwithstanding, it got a lot of it right. But how can you get so much right and still make such a boring, listless movie? And, again, credit to Ben Foster for trying his best with the material, but he just cannot escape the dull, lifeless, just the soul-sucking amount of energy that it takes to watch this 2.5 hour, paint dry of a movie. So,
reading over the comments from the fanboys really was a nice, gratifying experience, because it reminded me of how long it's been since I played the game.
Yeah,
how much I got wrong. It's like, that's great. That is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I almost wish John was with us to actually, his memories of the Warcraft lore is still fresh in his mind.
Solid.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think he would even like this movie. But the last on my list of my dishonorable mentions, Gods of Egypt.
Uh-huh.
Now, this would have been the worst movie of 2016 if it weren't for 9 Lives. I mean, like, how could you go wrong with Jeffrey Rush and, fending off an intergalactic alien with a spear, going, ah, like he's fucking Captain Ahab going after the white whale. But, from a dumbass plot to really, really glaringly awful visual design to the point where it actually hurts. Actually, that's something they also shares with 9 Lives. 9 Lives can her, but for different reasons.
Oh,
Nine Lives had color saturation ramped up to the point of absurdity. It looked like a Dr. Seuss movie. Whereas this was just gold upon gold, so there's always light glaring in your eyes.
Fuck. Yeah.
So much shine.
As I said, it was like Zeus's breastplate, but, you know, everywhere, all the time.
From the latest, not Jason and the Argonauts, Clash of the Titans.
Wrath of the Titans.
Yeah.
The Clash of the Titans movies.
Yep.
Release the Kraken.
Ah!
Yeah, that was unnecessary. But, that's my dishonorable mentions. I need dishonorable mentions for you, Gabe.
Oh, yeah, do I?
Oh, we're going to be here.
No one gave me a limit.
Oh, dear.
So
I'm going to get a second drink.
So here's all the other movies from 2016. Seriously, though, dishonorable mentions, let's in no particular order, because there's enough here to make a list.
Okay.
Batman versus Superman.
Mm-hmm.
That's on there because I couldn't put it in my top 10 best. And I couldn't put it in my honorable mentions because there's nothing honorable about it.
But yet it is a fun, bad movie to watch.
I didn't get a chance to. I didn't enjoy it as much as I should have in theaters, and that showed in the review.
Mm-hmm.
But
that movie is kind of fun to work with.
Here's the thing: another movie came out that allowed me to put things into perspective, and that's something else. So, Batman versus Superman, you know, Fantastic Beasts,
And where to find them?
fuck. Fantastic Beasts. I don't need to say the rest of the title.
Fantastic Beasts 2. Fuck Fantastic Beasts.
Fantastic Beasts was going to be my number 10. But it got pushed off by something else. So I put it here. That movie, it was supposed to be at least mediocre, and it was so boring. And it was so filled with moments from the Harry Potter films that were all fluff and like, oh, casting spells to make cakes and turn this wine into rum, except with less, actually funny moments. It was just, look at all these colors. Ooh.
But let's be real. The reason that's on your dishonorable mention list is for one particular
And then there's the nail in the coffin, which was that Colin Firth, throughout the movie, delivers a reasonable Colin Firth performance.
Yep.
And at the end of the movie, I had what he hates from
Darkman.
From Darkman with Bruce Campbell.
This man, not me.
Oh, sorry. This guy hates about. What am I saying? You love that.
Yeah,
that was great. I wish that there was a sequel.
Where Liam Neeson turned into Bruce Campbell?
Yeah, I would really wish there was. Right? Like they steal the pink elephant and he has to
give me the fucking elephant. Yeah, but
seriously, okay. So for me, it was Johnny Depp. Colin Firth rips off his face and turns it's Johnny Depp. Yeah, that movie just...
I saw that and I'm like, oh, Gabe's gonna hate this.
Yeah. But that was just a boring fucking movie. Pointless movie. Let's see, and then the next one I got is The Darkness. There's just nothing to say. It was a boring horror film.
Yeah.
Passengers.
Really?
Passengers. Because the more I thought about it, the more sexist that movie was. To the point of discomfort thinking about that.
We
that
touched
was
on that
really,
during the review. Yeah.
That was cringy. So that made it on there even though it otherwise would have been a somewhat entertaining film. Next, X-Men Apocalypse.
Ooh.
And they didn't make it onto my top, my 10 worst because it was. I realized it had a kind of cheesy 80s feel to it that I kind of like, trying to be a little more like a comic and less gritty and realistic. But then they didn't have everybody wear the costumes from like the comics. They only had Psylocke do that. Olivia Munn, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, Olivia.
And so that was kind of weird. It was just like, oh, Olivia Munn is Psylocke, and everybody else is an adaptation.
His leather
or is a modern adaptation of it. Okay, I guess. Weird, but yeah, learning.
Yeah.
Oh, and fucking Jennifer Lawrence's no performance, no
Yeah.
sell.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, you're playing Mystique. You know how many people would kill to be in that role, no matter how shitty the script is?
Great role.
You don't even have to do the paint. You don't have to piss blue like Rebecca Romaine. You get a suit. You have it made. You don't have to do that, but you get all the glory. Come on, Miss Peregrine.
Oh, wow. I thought that was going to make your worst list.
Yeah, it didn't because Johnny Depp wasn't in it.
But Johnny Depp was in Fantastic Beasts, but that wasn't in your top.
And I'm a sucker for
Eddie Redmayne.
for
Ava Green.
Eva Green.
As we all are.
He immediately goes to Eddie Redmayne.
Because it was Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for him.
We're all suckers for Ava Green.
The kids.
The what?
You weren't looking at my face when I.
No.
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 Oh, the child
yeah.
actors. Okay.
Oh, yeah, like
The sexual tension
between Ava Green and... Like, Ava Green could have sexual tension with a potted plant.
Yeah.
So, and there's no surprise there.
No.
Yeah. So that finishes my list.
Okay.
All right, so... Oh, boy.
On to the list proper then.
All right.
Yep.
Gavin, would you set us off right?
What you got?
With number 10?
I will set us off with number 10. Whether I do it rightly or wrongly will be up to you two. Number 10 for me is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Out of the Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe we saw the first one, and we were on the stage versus. We did a threesome for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. God damn it. Bad movie. Just straight up farted out piece of Michael Bay. Just, it's bad. You knew it was bad. It was not as bad as you thought it would be, but it's still bad. This is not going to be the only movie on my list that has this effect, but Out of the Shadows had a ghost of a good movie within it. It had the spark of affection for the material. It had the whisper of good ideas. It had just a soupçon of talent put into it to the degree where you're like, oh, I could foresee a path in many directions in which this exact movie could have been good. And yet, no. And yet, no. It's strongly bizarre. And yet, no. But one of the great things about it was a PG-13 movie that I think it was PG-13. It was the most ratings-confused movie I've ever seen in my life. Because most of the humor, the visual gags, all of that was for kids. And yet, Bebop and Rocksteady be checking out their dicks. Like, okay. And then...
I got something for you right here.
And then Megan Fox is in a cheerleader outfit. I'm like, this is just very confused. It was and that's really...
Talk about that scene. Yeah.
Which movie?
The cheerleader, how she gets it.
Yeah, and she just wandering. It's like, oh, I need a disguise. Slutty cheerleader. Like, okay. What?
But there was literally
And she just
cheerleaders
took
there
it
were
in.
cheerleaders over here.
Oh, excuse me,
because
not
they were
cheerleader,
there.
not cheerleader,
Or
preppy high school
Whatever.
girl.
Schoolgirls. There were schoolgirls
Yeah.
just gathered over here. And right next to them is schoolgirl outfits. Like, I don't know if they were actually like a class of schoolgirls or if they were just a bunch of people who went and bought schoolgirl outfits, but it was really convenient and weird.
It's unclear. But confused. This movie is fundamentally confused, and for that reason, and for my love of the Turtles, number 10 worst.
I couldn't hate that movie. I mean, it's a bad movie. I don't like that movie, but there was just enough stupid in it that I couldn't hate it. It's like it's like hating a retarded kid in class. You know, it's just,
Jesus.
Oh, and something Seamus couldn't ruin.
because it was already ruined before Seamus. And yet, you know what? Seamus was probably the best part of that movie.
Exactly. That's why it didn't make my list.
Honestly, best part of that movie for me was Medea. Tyler Perry. I like Tyler Perry's Baxter Stockman. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was all right.
Oh, and also Ralph's line about Vin Diesel, because
yeah, of course.
Yeah, cute.
But oh god, number 10 for me for the worst. Number 10, Jason Bourne.
Jason Boring?
Jason Boring.
Jason Boring.
Is it because they killed Julia Stiles?
No, I have no love in my heart for Juliet Stiles, one way or the other. Julia Stiles, which really just shows you how little she occupies anywhere in my body. But holy shit on the shingle, this was boring to sit through. And that's probably the major theme on my list. It's just like dull slugs. Actually, action movies that are dull fucking slugs. And Jason Bourne, nearly made its case as the dullest action movie of the year. There's another one, I believe, on my list further down here. Oh yeah, there's plenty. There's plenty of that could take that title. But Jason Bourne, right now we're talking about Jason Bourne. I never was invested in the Bourne franchise at all, and this movie is part and parcel why.
I was interested for 15 minutes in The Bourne Identity when he killed someone with a pen.
I mean, the hand-to-hand combat, quick action, jittery Paul Greengrass cam. Whoop-de-doo. Paul Greengrass revolutionized action movies for the mid-2000s, and we're still feeling the effects of it.
Revolutionized in the fact that he put the most revelations into the camera. Just
tumble dryer camera. Yeah. But at the end of the day, this was just everything that was wrong with the Jason Bourne franchise, just culminated into one film rather. There's just nothing to the character anymore. We have to retread ground over and over again just to make this character interesting. It's action scenes we've all seen before. It's more annoying fight choreography and shot composition. It's everything that annoys me about Jason Bourne distilled into one movie. And
they killed Julia Stiles.
We've already established that.
Yes.
And then there's they've established that they don't have to have Matt Damon. They don't.
Oh no, they failed trying not to have Matt Damon.
Well, they failed with Matt Damon too.
True, but they failed harder with Jeremy Renner.
Well, the point being, they could have used Seamus instead.
Seamus and Cesaro. Let's make a movie out of them.
Yeah, man, that'd be great. Bourne, the Bourne,
the
the
Bourne Cesaro.
The Bourne.
The Bourne Hellfire match.
I don't know, whatever.
I don't do the wrestling. No.
You don't do the wrestling.
I don't do wrestling. No.
That's fine. Wrestling does you.
So my number 10.
Yes.
Yes.
Suicide Squad.
Wow. Really? That's pretty low.
Yeah.
That is low.
Wow. I thought that was going to be like number 3 or like 4.
Yeah. Here comes the heat. Oh, you thought that was going to be my number 4?
Like 3, 4, or 3, yeah, but not number 10.
And you thought it wouldn't even be on the list?
No, I thought it would be even higher.
No. The reason it's number 10 and not higher is because at least I can recognize that it was entertaining.
In a broad sense, yeah.
Things happened. Things progressed. Things, finished. It was a proper movie. There are a lot of reasons why I hate it, why I personally hate it. And I'm able to understand maybe somebody who has never seen any other Batman movie ever could come into this and maybe get an enjoyable experience. Like, who is this? I don't know. They have this green-haired,
Enchantress?
white gangster, I don't know, wankster guy, and he's kind of like a douche bro, but his powers being really annoying, and I don't know, and the clown girl falls for him, the white trash clown girl. It's like on the surface, sure, but if you've heard the name Batman, this is a shit film.
That's some poster talk right there. If you've heard the name Batman, this is a shit film. Gabe.
Really, I think that's all there really is to say about Suicide Squad.
Fuck what they did to Harley Quinn.
That's why I thought it would be higher.
My favorite DC character.
That's why, yeah.
My favorite DC character, her first film, and it was this piece of shit. It could have been something great. She's not meant to be the center of the film. That's just not the character. But she could have been in in a movie like After the Dark Knight, It could have been one of the Dark Knight series, and she could have had like an actual, more realistic adaptation of her, and instead of this bubblegum bullshit. This bubblegum Malkavian bullshit.
Number 9?
Number 9 is one of quasi-cheats, because it did get a release, so it in theaters, Fathom Events, totally counts. Number 9, Kingsglaive Final Fantasy 15.
Ooh.
Now, you play Final Fantasy 15. You play Final Fantasy 15. I play Final Fantasy 15. Everyone that's played Final Fantasy 15 knows very little story.
Which is actually kind of a refreshing change of pace.
A little bit, but what is there is when you're watching the story cutscenes and you're getting a little bit, you get the overwhelming powerful sense that I'm not getting the whole picture. That's because they released it as a movie. And worst part about it is, even seeing the movie, the entire lore of the thing is badly delivered, horribly scripted, pointlessly executed, and special mention to Kingslave, it has the worst vocal performance of 2016. That is Liam Mulvey as Libertus, or Liberius. Wait for it, you'll recognize it. He sounds like a stoned out cokehead delivering what is supposed to be the moral center of the film. It is bizarre. And really, bizarrely bad is... I wouldn't even call it bizarrely bad. It is just straight up hokey, pointless shit. And it doesn't even have the bombastic fight scenes of Advent Children to carry it into at least a passable watch. Just fluff combined with bad video game developer business practices equals number 9.
From a Final Fantasy fan perspective, that's kind of par for the course. You're talking to the guy who bought like the Final Fantasy Spirits Within DVD back when it first came out, so that comes as no surprise to me. I remember seeing that movie in theaters with my brother.
But it wasn't ripped from a game that you had to then watch Spirits Within to get the entire picture thereof.
Mm. Well, no, but at least that is better than what Capcom did, where they just took all the cutscenes out from Onimusha Dawn of Souls and just put it on Netflix.
Oh, well, it's not as bad as what Capcom did with Azura's Wrath, basically putting the true ending behind the DLC package, but bad developer business practices exist throughout the board, but this one, for this year, was just particularly, not even like the biggest thorn in your ass, just kind of like a stabbing pain that you acknowledge, like, oh, you're just annoying.
Yeah, I can't.
And also, I will give Spirits Within one thing. The bonus extra where they all dance the Thriller dance is kind of cool.
Yeah, I know, but that's not part of the movie proper. So. Yeah. That's neither here nor there. Number 9 for me. Allegiant.
Oh, the teeny bopper thing.
Yes.
Yeah, from the Divergent.
Wait, hold on. That's number 9 for you?
Yeah, number 9 for me. Allegiant, at the very least, had things going for it. Had things going on compared to its older brother in the series. But that still doesn't make anything going on worth getting invested into. Especially with that little shit brick Miles Teller.
I can't believe that's number 9 for you, man.
I know, but I'm surprised Suicide Squad was number 10 for you. We're all learning something.
We're just
I'm gonna find out.
I'm just surprised.
Yeah, but
It's like a Nintendo E3 press conference.
At the end of the day, Jeff Daniels was passable. He was something I could appreciate in the movie, just by virtue of him being this Teflon man and not letting the shit in this movie stick to him.
He was your buoy, your life raft.
Yeah, he was my buoy, my life raft, as you say. And more to the point, it just feels like even the movie knows it's running out of steam. What with the news that the 4th movie, the final installment in this epic franchise, isn't even going to hit theaters anymore. It's just going to be direct to cable. So,
ouch.
Yeah, there is no reason whatsoever to kick a dog when it's down. This is by far and away the most annoying franchise that I've ever had to sit through. Franchise, I said. Like, this is the only franchise I can look to that I can't even explain why it's even a franchise at all. Mm-hmm. I mean, it costs way too much money. It costs way too much money for the amount of money it gets back, and yet people still somehow flock to it. Enough for producers to think that they got a new Hunger Game going. Which,
they're just desperate for Hunger Games. They kind of ignored the box office signs.
Exactly. Even Hunger Games wasn't Hunger Games by the 4th movie.
No, that's because it still had Jennifer Lawrence in it.
But retreading everything and looking back on it, there's my go-to hate points. Miles Teller being number 1, Shailene Woodley being my number 2. Shailene Woodley is like my female Miles Teller. I just look at her and I just hate. I mean, like, I was talking with her about her with Amy, and she says she looks like some of the girls that used to bully me in high school. She looks like a mean girl. Shailene Woodley looks like a mean girl.
Not a fun mean girl.
No, she just looks like a total bitch. And, in the movie, she just kind of comes off as one. She just has this pouty, like, why isn't people looking at me? Why aren't people looking at me? Me. This sort of self, aggrandizing and just
But I'm the
obnoxious.
divergent one.
I'm the divergent one, and my boyfriend's divergent, and we're all gonna be divergent
Yeah,
together.
We're gonna take down
kids.
Kate Winslet. I've never seen any of the movies. I don't know.
The first movie is just pure dog shit.
Okay.
Nothing goes on.
Okay.
Worst movie of 2014. I don't care what anyone says. Worst movie of 2014.
But it says something about the franchise that a few movies later, we're
There's-
down to number 9.
Yeah, but that's only because there's nowhere to go but up. Just nowhere. Because at least things are happening. That's the only saving grace about that movie as compared to the first movie. That and Jeff Daniels. So number 9 for you, Gabe.
All right, so whereas the last one I had was basically like, okay, there's a good film, but then there's a bad film that's coinciding with it. Just take that away. For this one, it's just a bad film all the way through. That's Gods of Egypt.
Okay, one of my...
Gods of Egypt was... This is another personal hatred of mine, is that they finally made my big Egyptian epic of the decade, and it was Gods of Egypt. It was basically Clash of the Titans in lots of more gold with supposedly Egyptian themes.
They turned into a
Egyptian
jackal at
themes.
one point, right?
Huh?
Gerard Butler does turn into a jackal in bad.
Oh,
never
yes,
seen
and then there's the whitewash casting.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted this movie to be good. I mean, I knew it was going to be bad from the trailers. I hate chairs! There was no doubt in my mind. But from the title, I was really hoping for my next Stargate.
But
I didn't get it. So fuck this movie.
Sorry, Gabe.
And what's your next?
that's all.
Very
That's all I
somber.
gotta say about
That's
it.
all I
Yeah.
got to say about that.
Guess that brings us to number 8. I'll start it off here. Bennett touched on it. I'll just elaborate a little bit. My number 8 is Warcraft. And that's because, again, the spirit and soul of a good movie resides somewhere within the morass that came to screen. Particularly, this one's a bit more easy to pin down. They missed the forest for the trees. Those beautiful, major big bucks, industrial light magic CG trees. Gorgeous movie. Beautiful production design. Decent acting? I mean, as you mentioned, Ben Foster killing it. Just workman horsing, just like a Clydesdale, stomach deep in dirt and mud, just pulling a cart. Just dude's trying to make the best. And my favorite moment of the movie is just when Ben Foster orc is talking and reminiscing with another orc. That is not Ben Foster. Just when you sat them down, have
Wait,
them
no,
talk.
Ben Foster didn't play an orc.
Oh, did he?
No, he played Medivh.
See, that's
wizard,
how.
the wizard who went bad at the end of the movie.
That's how little I remember that movie.
So
It's orc.
did you like Medivh or did you like the guy who was the orc?
I like Medivh. I like the orcs. I like Medivh.
But specifically, you were talking about the orc.
My favorite moment is with 2 orcs, and that's how little I actually saw.
2 orcs?
2 orcs, yes.
Oh.
My god.
That's so weird.
But really, it's just like they put all this monumental budget, effort. Dude that directed Moon was helming it. Like there was a method to this madness, and they proceeded with the most flaccid grade school script I've heard in quite some time. I realize it's like this was a few degrees, strong degrees, but a few degrees removed from M. Night Shyamalan's Avatar script. In terms of how much exposition they tried to cram into a single film installment. Like, ooh, just, you cannot polish that turd with some ILM CG. Oh my lord. And I don't even like the Warcraft movies, but I thought like, hey, this is a rich mine for
Warcraft
games.
I don't like the Warcraft movie, I don't like the Warcraft games. I've never played the Warcraft games. But this seems like a rich mine of lore material, of things to discuss and talk about and experience and tell a story within. And that was the one thing they forgot to do here. So, number 8. And even worse, saw it in 3D.
Oh,
Yeah.
Man.
you spent
Rookie mistake.
Rookie mistake.
You put a little extra mustard behind that.
Yep.
I said my.
Right.
I contributed to that movie getting a sequel. Me and China.
Surprise me some more, man.
Please do.
Number 8, The Darkness.
The Darkness.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I hated that movie more than you did, just by virtue of the fact that was a pointless movie. I hate having my time wasted. By God, was that a pointless fucking movie. Outside of like the weird character turns, like for some reason the daughter in the family has an eating disorder that never goes anywhere. She's just puking into Tupperwares and keeping it underneath her bed. And then there's this huge family drama about it, and then it's just immediately dropped.
Okay.
You just that was completely unnecessary. And that little bit right there is just endemic throughout this entire movie. From, like looking at like this long protracted Google sequence, like how do
I fight spirits?
And then you just get in
on budget.
And then you just get, Consuela and her abuelita to come in and just try to...
That was funny, actually. That was kind of funny bad.
It was kind of funny bad. I mean, at the very least I could laugh at that. But that is just that kind of movie. This bereft of any good ideas, bereft of any reason to exist movie that I had to waste an hour and a half watching. Kevin Bacon is uncharacteristic. I was about to say uncharacteristically lifeless in this movie, but I've seen Kevin Bacon phone it in a few times, and whenever he is, and when he is, it's worse Kevin Bacon. It's the worst Kevin Bacon. This is the worst Kevin Bacon.
This is non-crispy bacon.
No. This is the soggy, pre-cooked bacon that you find on your Subway sandwiches. So, by far and away, this was probably the worst horror movie of the year for me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's one on my list that if you stretch the definition of what a horror movie is...
don't say too much.
Yeah, I know, but that one's further down on the list, but I think you all know what I'm talking about. Number 8, Gabe?
All right, my number 8 is wrong list. Arrival.
What?
It is my favorite end.
Eighth favorite?
Look,
the second half of Arrival. Yes.
I'm looking at things in a flat circle. No, okay, my number 8. He's gonna focus in on that one moment. Just Arrival.
Just a gigantic red X right
asshole. Arrow asshole. Ghostbusters.
Oh.
Oh, I can hear them already.
No.
Yes, the heat.
The heat.
This is what I live for. Yes. Ghostbusters. That was just a bad remake.
Bad, stupid comedy.
I don't care who they cast. It was shitty fucking script. Nobody could sell it. Nobody could sell that script.
Yeah, it's just a bad comedy following a bad idea.
Yeah, it was like, I think a lot of that was improv. They just took a bunch of cuts of people saying shit and pasted it all up together, the parts they thought were best, and I don't want to know what their other parts were like. I don't want to know the discarded line rama what it was, but
cut this little bit that Gabe's saying. We're gonna put a pin in it. We're gonna stick it over here. I'm gonna pick this back up later.
I think we're all gonna pick this up later.
I think we're gonna leave it right there. We're gonna draw from this well. Yeah.
But
I'm the wellspring.
Leaving that there for now. Let's move on to your number 7.
Number 7. This I had a hard time deciding between 2 shitty animated movies. One shitty animated movie, Ratchet and Clank. Despite how I saw it, I won't go into too many details of that. It was just like even the game cutscenes were better than this. I don't know how they failed because it was a lot of the same team, but what brought Storks, which is my number 7, into number 7 was how it was sold to me, and this is unfair to the movie. I readily admit that.
I did not see Storks.
I didn't see Storks either. Neither of us have seen Storks.
Readily admit I'm being unfair to this movie, but it was sold to me as the next Emperor's New Groove. People that know me, you may know. My Emperor's New Groove, my second favorite Disney movie. Yeah. Love that flick.
Behind Sword in the Stone, right?
No, behind Fox and the Hound.
Oh, okay.
But Emperor's New Groove, funny as hell. Most of the jokes land completely rapid fire, great stuff, meme worthy. It's still generating memes. What has to be 13 years, 12? Yeah, precisely. There you go. There you go. Legacy. None of that for Storks. Granted, 1/3 of the jokes in this movie, fantastic. Like in the Shrek degree, where they're like, "Hey, adults with kids, you get what we just did there, huh? basically the wink jokes. 1/3 of the movie, those land. Problem is, there's 2/3 of the movie left. And the 2/3 that they remain with, it's not that I'm saying jokes for kids are inherently unfunny to everybody else. These weren't jokes just for kids. These were the broad jokes for all demographics, and they botched them completely, and it just combined with a marshmallow of a story, just kind of barely flavorful. And really, what nailed it here at number 7 for me was it had the most annoying side character of the year in one Pigeon Toady. I won't even try to do an impression of this horrible, wretched voice that expelled from this little creature's throat through the entirety of the movie, unchanging, unwavering, one single goddamn bloody joke. Just know to avoid at all costs.
So I was wondering, like, why in the world would you see storks? I mean, I thought, we have a reason
You can like...
Well, because he was told that it would be like...
I would agree. But yeah, first trailer, you're like, no, I can smell that. No, I'm good. Yeah, I should have taken that, but nope. I got my little dog whistle there, my little Emperor's New Groove. Like, oh, really? I'll go see it then. Mistake.
You live and learn.
Live and learn.
Well, some of us live and we don't learn. Case in point here with my number 7. I almost forgot I saw this movie, and
It's not a good sign.
Not a good sign.
Not a good sign.
Oh yeah, I wonder if this is one.
Because I'm looking at you and I'm wondering, do you even remember seeing this movie? But
I think my interest.
The number 7. We had that running joke with Ray Fiennes. Well, his brother did no better in Risen.
Oh. One of the rare Christploitation flicks that didn't generate a lot of hateful buzz.
Yeah, because for a Christploitation flick, there wasn't really a lot of Christ in it. It tried to play it straight like Ben-Hur tried to play it straight, and that was
this year's Ben-Hur, not 53 Ben-Hur.
Yeah. But this year's Ben-Hur, which I don't think any of us here seen, which probably would be on our list had we did.
But this one is just, again, if there is a through line by which all my tick marks have a commonality, it's that it is dull. And by God, this was fucking dull. There was a point in the movie where I just left to go to the bathroom, and I seriously thought about, like, should I just leave Gabe in the theater? Oh, wow.
I had a thought.
Damn.
I was like,
wow. Cold.
Like,
even
don't play Area 51
even like
in the lobby.
Thought, like a little bit of that. Like, no.
Or just drive home, maybe. Why don't you?
Like, I had that thought.
Meanwhile, 100 Pokemon later...
This was released before Pokemon Go.
Oh, it was. So I would have just been bored. You fucking asshole. Well, you didn't do it. You didn't do it, man. That's what matters.
But even thinking it.
But even thinking it,
strongest of tuts.
But even thinking it made me feel horrible.
I'm pretty sure when you got back, I leaned over to tell you what you missed, and then I just said, "Fuck it."
There was nothing missing.
Jesus hasn't happened yet.
That's the postmortem on this movie. Jesus hasn't happened yet.
It's like, we want to make this realistic. But what Jesus is a part of, push it off. Yeah, but he has to show up at some point. That's what the movie's about.
So Hail Caesar, better Jesus movie.
Oh yeah, it's way better Jesus movie than Risen. Risen, I can't even describe in words how dull. I keep using that word. But how just it's like this, it's a blood cooling movie. You could literally feel yourself getting older with every minute that movie goes on.
You see the aged liver spots start to appear on your hands.
Yeah.
30 years early. You're like, oh my god.
It saps your strength.
But it does. It really does.
It saps your will to live. Until the point where you're thinking about getting crucified yourself. Maybe then you will have died for a cause.
I thought you were going like, this may have brought you to Jesus just to get you out and go to church.
I don't know, like, if you ask me, like, do you want to live your entire life living to this dogmatic lifestyle, or do you want to see Risen once? Put a cross around my neck and call me Joshua, because I am a part of the faithful now. Number 7 for you, Gabe. Did we do it twice in a row? Did we get number 7s? Just tell me what's number 7.
All right, my number 7 is 50 Shades of Black.
Oh, actually, I thought that would be higher.
Sorry.
Gabe lowballing. He's
Well,
lowballing.
sorry to
this
disappoint
list.
you.
Sorry.
50 Shades of Black. So you have so much material to work with 50 Shades of Grey, and this is the best you can do.
Weekend jokes. The Weekend, you know the.
Yeah. I've never seen. I didn't see
It's
it.
just,
I gave up on the Wayans brothers like 6 movies ago.
I don't know. I mean, like, what is worse? Legitimate attempts at a joke and failing, or non-jokes?
Jokes but failing.
Even worse.
Those are worse because non-jokes can be inadvertently funny. Jokes that try but not, that's just pain. That's just
Yeah. And that's what this movie was just rock full of. It was just one hit after another, and it had very little breathing time between them.
Mm-hmm.
It tried to be that kind of airplane pacing of jokes throughout the movie, and they were just all absolutely cringeworthy. Just it was a real chore to get through. This isn't higher on the list because at least at some points you could just be flabbergasted at the
what you're watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next.
Little bit of vindication for you, and I'm going to draw a little bit from our wellspring here, just a little bit, because it's just a portion of what I'm going to say, but a little bit of vindication for this man here, because number 6 features this man's anathema. Oh, am I using that correctly? You're anti-Bennett. Miles Teller. Number 6 for me is War Dogs.
Ooh, we dodged
Miles
a bullet on
Teller
that one.
and Jonah Hill are gun runners during I believe, the Iraq conflict or whatever vague Middle East conflict that they had for the movie, and it feels like a little bit like a lot of this is improv, but what like just scraps of improv they took from the editing floor. But primarily, this is a movie that's like, hey, I can be Scorsese too, or hey, I can create this grand crime drama too, and no, you can't. You're like batting 6 sports in the wrong direction right now. The sheer failure, the sheer lack of polish and talent on display here is remarkable in 6 different fashions. On its whole, I mean, you watch it and it's tolerable. You can sit there and do it, but then the seams appear and they get wider and wider as the refrigerator logic sets in and you're thinking about it next day, next week, next month. And at the end of it, it's this pulpy mass of Jonah Hill heckling like a hyena and Miles Teller being Miles Teller. And
Wait a minute, he was heckling?
well, he was heckling. Yeah, Miles Teller. He would constantly rib off him. He would be like, "Nya, nya, 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 nya." And he was this boisterous, loud character. And it's like, okay, we get it. What the fuck ever. And it is just so far beyond sad quality. It is just abysmal to sit through. And do I have any other notes here that I don't want to spend any more time on this? It should have cut maybe a half hour, 45 minutes.
I wonder how we missed this one.
So yeah, a little bit of vindication to this man right here. Point to him. 1 point to all of the points he's lost over the years, but 1 point in the positive column.
Yeah.
You're one to talk.
Like my idea is that if you ever sat down to watch Fan Four Stick, I'd get all my points back.
See, I'll avoid that one. Jonah Hill, I'm like, okay, I'll go see Jonah Hill. No.
My number 6, following in the grand tradition of overblown, tepid action movies.
Yes.
This is another one where I had to struggle to remember anything that happened in the movie. Number 6, The Huntsman, Winter's War.
I almost saw that. Because I wanted some more Charlize Theron ham acting.
Well, you would have gotten about 10 minutes of it.
I'm glad I have. Yeah.
That's basically what saved it.
Yeah.
You know, Charlize Theron, for the 10 minutes she's on screen, is watchable and, enjoyable, but everything else is just... It was like Warcraft, but even worse, because,
Wow.
At least you could kind of understand what was happening in the grand scheme of things. That's where it did have one thing over Warcraft, but where it was even worse than Warcraft was that it went off these pointless detours that just didn't seem to go anywhere.
Side quests, man.
Yeah, literally, the movie was like one long, protracted side quest. And if you liked the original Huntsman...
Who are you?
Yeah, who are you? But, you would have to imagine that you would be pissed by this second movie's treatment of the characters from the original. Snow White, or whoever was supposed to be Snow White, is barely in it at all. Charlize Theron is also barely in it at all. It just again, if Dole is not the through line for it, it's pointless. And it was hard to find a movie more pointless than Huntsman Winter's War. I've really, really, really struggling to think about anything that ever stood out to me in that movie. You know how bad it is? You know how bad this movie is? I literally just remembered that a Hemsworth is in this movie.
Poor Chris, man. He cannot get anything outside of Thor.
Yes, Chris
Poor
Hemsworth.
guy.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth is in this movie, and I just remembered that.
Mm-hmm.
That is how...
Had a little bit of my Warcraft moment there where I missed the characters and who they played. Yeah.
Just
Ugh.
how ineffectual this movie is. That's what that word. That's what this
Ineffectual,
movie is.
yeah.
Ineffectual.
Well, you know what? I liked the beginning, as well as the 10 minutes at the end.
The beginning when you were in the theater and you were just watching previews?
No, at the beginning of the movie where there is Charlize Theron.
Nice.
Oh, not just that.
So I stopped watching after the first
I
5
liked the first side quest. I liked it because it felt like charming, kind of like a D&D movie, but not entirely
But not
bad.
the D&D movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Holy crap, the dwarves.
Yeah.
The dwarves. One of them being played by Rob Brydon for some reason.
Hey.
Again, how ineffectual this movie is. It took me this long to remember those guys were in the movie.
I thought that it was kind of charming in the beginning. It felt kind of like just another throwback classic D&D movie. You know, and even when it started to get bad, it was at the very beginning. It was kind of campy bad. The goblins have the mirror. You know, it's like we got to go find the mirror. So they go across the rickety bridge, and I think I think it was just like a little alcove actually though, but they had a bridge. Maybe it's because they were short and it seemed big, but even on that scale, it was pretty funny. So they're going over this bridge over this, waist deep, and then they get across the bridge, and I shit you not, there's the mirror, and it's just leaning up against a fucking rock on the other side of the bridge. It's like 10 feet away.
Whoever's DMing this game sucks.
I wrote better shit when I was 13 in the age of manure. It's just there, and I don't know why they find out that the goblins have been turning gold items into like weapons or something, or they're hoarding gold items. But here's the thing: they got like a moat of liquid gold. That's what it was. Below the bridge was like a moat of liquid gold, and they had to be careful of that. But why are they hoarding these objects? Are they turning it into the moat of gold? What the fuck are they doing? And why haven't they done that to the mirror yet?
So many questions.
And what do they have to protect themselves from the mirror's power that you see it? You become all entranced by it. They just put a blanket over it, and it was good. There was no problem. They just took the mirror and had a blanket over it. There's no problem. You don't have to worry about making your D save, your spell save against it. It's just got a blanket over it. They're not all accounted for. Fucking God.
But that aside,
It was cheesy bad. I could laugh at that.
yeah, you could laugh at that, but that does not make up for about 85% of the movie. Can you remember thing one about that movie outside of that?
Yeah, there was ice.
So it was like frozen. So it's basically.
Oh, there was a wall. There was like an ice wall between the huntsman and the other huntsman, the real huntsman.
Yeah, there was supposed to be this forced love triangle that just kind of.
Yeah, they did this thing they made an illusion where it's like he ran out on you and she ran away from you and they both betrayed each other but they didn't. And
yeah, again,
I remember that.
That's what that movie is. That's what that is in the movie. Just running in place, just nothing going on.
Yeah, but no, I certainly can agree with it being on your list. It just wasn't as bad for me.
But it's not your number 6.
No.
What's your number 6?
Nice segue.
Keeping us on pace here, bud.
Yeah.
I got you.
Even with my trying to be short and sweet here. All right. Moving to the worst list, not the best list.
Arrival!
Again!
Oh. Hail! Okay, so my next one is number 6, Secret Life of Pets.
Oh, yes.
Secret Life of Pets.
I've heard the horror stories. I have not quite gotten the full, story.
Here's the thing. What the Huntsman... all right. What the Huntsman was for me, and his scene with the mirror and how we could laugh at that... Secret Life of Pets is with me, where I just remember the sausage scene, and that is the most that was the most mindfuckery I've ever seen.
Well, that's why this isn't higher. Because of the sausage scene.
Please explain, because my mind is going in very different directions.
It's funny how much, sausage is like a good thing in our review. I'd be like, sausage was a very good thing for 2016.
Sausage party, yeah.
2016, the year of sausage.
I don't know. What other sausage moments are we missing? But anyway.
Basically, there's
comment below with all the other 2016
basically,
sausages.
where Zootopia was the great animated film of the year, this was the shit one.
Not the only one, just the one we've seen.
Well, this was the shitty one we saw. And I can't remember a lot from it. I remember the sausage scene, but I remember how aggravating it was.
You just remember the hate.
The beginning of the film is basically things that pets do when their owners are gone. Eventually, it just becomes, Homeward Bound animated.
That sounds awesome.
With no charm.
Oh. I loved Homeward Bound.
You know what I think it is? It's just that every cat in that movie was this monstrous, selfish little shit. And there's my confirmation bias. There's just me looking at Gabe saying, hey, at least we got one thing
but
right.
But they were smart. And the dogs were pretty stupid, I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
So
playing to stereotype.
So take that.
Yeah.
I think that Christopher Dork or something.
No, it wasn't Christopher. It wasn't Christopher Walken. It was
someone who was like Christopher Walken.
Yeah, it was Albert Brooks putting on this weird affectation.
What?
Yeah, Albert Brooks, the same guy who did
Nemo's father.
Yeah, Nemo's father. That guy.
Yeah, and who was a great comedian on his own in live action.
Yeah, was it a peregrine or something?
Yeah, it was like a peregrine. It was a bird of prey.
I mean, that was okay.
That was fun, but
it is just filled with this like, there is a ball on the table. I better not flick it off. Flick. It's not there anymore. You're gonna get blamed for this. I will not get blamed for this. And then I'm gonna what?
Wow.
That was like how it was delivered.
I know, but you're talking with all the enthusiasm as a Dana Brooke promo.
This was the Secret Life of Pets experience. Him laughing, him miserable.
She's green. Give her time to grow.
Wrestling.
I assumed. Whenever I heard the word promo, I assume you two are talking about your wrestling thing.
She was pushed too hard.
Too soon. And she's pushing everyone else's buttons but yours. In fact, I think you would rather she push your buttons if you catch my drift there, bud.
So, Secret Life of Pets. So, Secret Life of Pets. I don't want to talk about this thing. I really don't. But
to answer your question, there's this one moment in the movie. It comes out of nowhere where...
Save me, man.
Yeah. It comes out of nowhere where the main dog and the dog that basically he felt was taking over his spot as the favorite in the family.
Okay, I remember that part from the trailer, yeah.
Yeah, and they're just on this conveyor belt, because shenanigans. And then all of a sudden, they're in a sausage factory, and then the whole factory becomes like sausage heaven. And it's out of nowhere. There's no ramping up to it. There's no real dovetailing out of it. It's just this ethereal sausage scene where everything is all sausage and it's heaven. And I watched that scene, I kind of spaced out at the beginning of it, and then I looked at the screen and I realized, wait a minute, we're in what? And I watched the scene like this. For a good 2 solid minutes.
It wasn't enough to save the film.
I don't know, man. Sausage Heaven and Secret Life of Pets, way funnier than just a mirror just kind of off in a corner for Huntsman. But agreed to disagree on that one. Secret Life of Pets is not on my list.
I didn't see it.
So...
Yeah, it was just the most infuriating, this is only for kids kind of movie I've seen. all year.
But number 5, Gavin?
Number 5. In my dishonorable mentions, you may recall, I brought to light All the Way. Historical drama centered on presidents, people in prosthetic makeup. It got on my dishonorable mention because it didn't have a wide release. Number 5 technically did. And number 5, released by Amazon Studios, is Elvis and Nixon. This is another historical drama with a nothing story. It's basically, hey, Elvis and Nixon met one point in the Oval Office. What happened? What led up to it? Let's find out. And it has there's a great setup here. Kevin Spacey is Nixon. Does a good Nixon. Michael Shannon is Elvis. Yes, I'm there. Talk to me about it. And there's like,
I will find you.
Just juking. It just juked me the entire time. It was like, nope. Elvis has this guy that wants to get home for his to spend time with his family, but he doesn't want to leave Elvis because they were formerly high school childhood friends, and he doesn't want to ruin his career by leaving him. What? Elvis and Nixon. I don't give a shit about Elvis's childhood pal that has home sadness. I don't give a shit. And that's it. That's most of the movie. And we get Elvis and Nixon like 10 minutes at the end of the movie,
This
and it's
sounds
just
great.
like,
I want to see this.
no, you don't.
It sounds amazing.
I'm more cackling at the point of home sadness.
Home sadness. I don't know what else it is. On
Home
Wii?
sickness?
Home sadness.
Okay, home sickness, sure. On Wii. Melancholy. Home
Is
sadness.
this like the
sickness
opposite
size.
of homesickness, where you wish you're anywhere else? Because that's how I felt in Secret Life of Pets.
And the script is awful, and it just goes nowhere. Fast, 10 different times. False start here, dead end here, and it was just so bloody necessary.
I've never seen it, but it sounds like a must-watch for the
We
both of
gotta
us.
see this.
God.
Michael Shannon is Elvis,
Damn it.
Spacey is Nixon, and they're
God.
a buddy.
Damn it. No, it's not buddy. They meet for like 10 minutes at the end.
Oh, it's just the 10 minutes, that's it?
Yeah.
Might be a great 10 minutes.
Really ain't.
All right, what's yours, man?
Number 5. I know you didn't see this, so I'm probably going to have to go a little at length at this.
Expand.
Try not to. I'm not looking at
Yeah.
that.
Number 5, Independence Day Resurgence.
Yeah, I had a very good feeling that would be on my list because that was my favorite movie when I was like 9.
Yeah. You would have hated this movie. Did you see Independence Day Resurgence? Oh, I got story time for you.
Okay.
Saw this in Philadelphia when I was at Too Many Games with Mark and Aaron, and this was again another dreary, listless action movie. But this one had the great misfortune of shitting on the original, and I myself don't have a huge love for the movie.
Me too.
But it was it's a nice fond memory. It's a nice fun action.
I mean,
movie.
not as much as when I was a kid now, but yeah.
But you can still look at the original Independence Day and kind of laugh. Ha ha! He's using him back to upload a virus into the aliens' computer. Ha! This, on the other hand, this is just hey. You remember Will Smith's wife, that lovable stripper that tried to the lovable stripper that's just trying to raise a son? You get to see her die. She literally tumbles off a crumbling building and she falls to her plummeting death.
What?
Will Smith's character killed off camera.
Do they kill the dog?
Dead.
Will Booker live?
Boomer.
Will
Does
the
he not
goddamn
make
dog
it out
live?
of the tunnel this time?
Yes. Is there another flameball tunnel?
Or did he suffer like health, like
Like most golden retrievers, did he suffer for cancer for the last 2 years?
Like
of
the
his
tunnel
life?
finally got him.
Like it's been nearly 20 years. That dog's dead.
But the movie takes time out just to remind you of that. 20 years, Boomer is dead. Just.
like,
All right, now let's get the film roll back
No,
up.
they
Okay, now we
killed
can go.
everybody else off, but they kept the dog alive.
so
Instant redemption for the movie.
So you're thinking that okay, so they're going to focus on Will Smith's son as the main character of the movie, and it kind of sets itself up that way. But then in comes this white guy to basically cold cock him and say, "No, this is going to be my movie." I think
Not
it's
Bill Paxton, not Jeff Goldblum, not a known white guy.
it's a Hemsworth. I forgot which
Liam?
might have been Liam Hemsworth.
Jerry?
I think it was Liam Hemsworth. I mean, the Hemsworths all blend together given a long enough timeline. But in comes Liam Hemsworth and say, nope, get out of the way, motherfucker, this is my movie. And here's the thing. He
punches him like the alien.
Yeah, actually, like...
Welcome to Earth!
Wait.
Welcome to Hollywood, bitch! Get in the back of the movie!
Which is...
Oh,
shit, son!
No!
Wow!
No!
Wow! That's what the movie does. That is what the movie does,
Bad. No.
You know what? I'm gonna-
no, Bennett.
I'm gonna
No.
do this
Look
to
at what
you
you
now.
did. Look at what you did. No. Bad, Bennett.
I would look out for the comments, Ben. You really stepped on a landmine, Ben.
All throughout the internet, the triggers everywhere.
But that's what the movie does. Like, look, the actor, his name here, watches his mom die. You're thinking, oh my god, this is going to be the galvanizing point. This is where he's going to lead the charge and everything. Shit happens to him. He's just there along with the ride, just catching the comet's tail of Liam Hemsworth's character. What the fuck is he even doing in this movie?
Huh.
Just because Will Smith refused to sign on for this movie, good on you, Will Smith.
Yeah, and considering your recent career choices, what did you have to lose?
Honestly, he just looked at
we did not see Collateral Beauty for a reason.
he just looked at the schedule. It's like, nah, Independence Day 2, Deadshot and Suicide Squad. Well, my son wants to play Static Shock, so I guess I gotta do Suicide Squad. But again, so Will Smith's written out of the movie, and now the heart and soul of the movie is just gone, just vaporized from the movie, and I think that really ruffled Roland Emmerich's feathers, because the rest of the movie is just this long protracted shit on that character and his family.
Oh, do they do a little bit of Ghost Rider Watchmen with Atticus Finch on him, retroactively make him a horrible person?
Yeah. Pretty much. Well, I mean, they didn't retroactively make him a horrible person, but they killed his wife,
It's vengeance on the spirit of Will Smith's 90s self.
Killed his wife, emasculated his son, basically turning him into not even a supporting character.
God, sounds like Kaiser Sose directed it.
Yeah, I know, right? And Bobcat Goldthwait.
Wait, I'm gonna see this movie now. Bobcat Goldthwait, is he the aliens?
No. But Jeff Goldblum. I don't know why I was thinking Bobcat Goldthwait.
I don't know either.
But Jeff Goldblum is Goldblum is barely Goldblum in this movie. I mean, and Goldblum's barely in this movie.
Paxton or Coleman?
Yeah, he has a nice
One of the Bills.
One of the Bills. I think it was Bill Pullman. Bill Paxton.
His name here. Sorry. Sorry, Edit Bennett. Sorry.
Just got to remember it. There's a lot of
edit Gabe.
There's a lot of edits in this recollection, but the worst part of this movie easily, and I hate to say it, is Brent Spiner.
Oh wow.
Brent Spiner. They resurrected Brent Spiner.
Yeah. Where the hell did they dig him up?
Yeah, Brent Spiner's in this movie as basically, hey guys, I'm back. Hey, remember?
No explanation, huh?
No, he was just in a coma, and then he woke up. That's it.
Oh, that guy was fucking dead.
Oh, soap opera logic. I love
that
it.
Guy was so dead.
Brilliant.
That's it.
The alien was using him as a anus puppet.
I know, right?
Anus puppet.
Like the tentacle.
Now available on Etsy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just, literally ventriloquist dummied and then, tossed aside. And apparently he was in a coma for 20 years. And then suddenly he wakes up. And now he's got this formula in his head. And he's like, I gotta figure out what was in the formula that there goes. I'm coming and then we can use the... It just, oh my God.
And he goes eccentric scientist on us for the rest of the movie, right?
Yeah. He spends the rest of the movie with, in the dressing gown with his butt hanging out. Because comedy...
I remember that joke from a 1950s movie.
And he delivers the line of the movie. The line that really sums up just the attitude of this movie is where the day is saved, they got all this new alien technology, and they realize, hey, we could go to the aliens world, now. Let's fuck their shit up!
Sequel bait.
Yeah, he provides the sequel bait. We're gonna kick some alien butt.
That Super Mario
this
Brothers
would've been
movie
on my
never gonna
list.
happen level.
Yes, yeah.
Mm.
Ooh, this was a
Ooh.
sequel that just took a 12-day backed up shit on your childhood memories.
You know what?
Ooh.
I don't need to see it. Independence Day 2? You know what you get? Do you know what happens when you shit on our childhood? Independence Day 2, you're on the list!
Where are you putting it?
I mean, it's at 11 right now. I'll sort it out later.
I thought it was a reference.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
It is a reference to Jericho.
god damn it!
He knew there was something.
I knew it was something.
But he literally has a list. But anyway, number 5 for you.
All right. Number 5 for me was Boo and Madia Halloween.
A Medea. Woo!
Tyler
buddy.
Perry's second appearance on our lists.
So
Not his
first
last.
off, this is a Tyler Perry movie. So that's that. That explains pretty much most of what I have to say. Okay, so there was a lot more shit, no jokes, or trying to be jokes. So just like in 50 Shades of Black. Yeah, I know. This was the whole reason why I put Secret Life of Pets between the two.
I'm just biding my time because I gotta say my piece on this movie too, but now's not the time. Say what you need to, man.
Right,
Say what you need to.
Tyler Perry, to be a fly on the wall for his therapist sessions. What do you want in life? Where are you trying to go?
Where did you come from? Where did you go?
Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
It's just a whole bunch of just talking with. I don't even. How do you describe this? How do you describe it?
I don't see it. I don't know.
That kid's gonna steal your candy. Oh, I've been taking candy from kids because that's what I do when I stick my hand in the bowl. I'm not really giving them candy. I'm taking it away. Ha ha ha. That kid's real fat. He need to stop eating his candy. Ha 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 ha. You're a really mean old woman.
Okay.
That's what you get for a good, hour 45 minutes?
Hour 45 minutes, 11:75.
Do you want me to waste basket this? There's a plot. It's basically, there is a plot kind of, but it doesn't really happen. It doesn't. The idea is it's supposed to be a Halloween movie. It's supposed to be a horror movie, kind of like a comedy horror. It's supposed to be a comedy horror, and the zombies. The zombies that are supposed to be going after them. Shut. I'm trying to review this piece of shit. Clear.
Breathe! Are you okay?
What are you laughing about?
Red.
This was not a funny movie.
I think he's dying.
I'm not dying.
Is there a doctor in the comments?
It's just like the big shocker. That movie's on my list. I just have to, because I still got to say my piece about the movie, but I got to wait until it's my turn to reveal when it's on the list.
You can do it.
Just tighten up that sphincter. Just muscle through it. You can do it.
Okay. This girl is trying to. Shut up! We have to duct tape your ass.
Just go.
This girl is trying to prank their parents and Tyler Perry into or their grandparents, whatever. They're trying to prank them into thinking the house is haunted, and then they try to get back at them, the kids, by basically having all these people. Oh fuck this movie! Fuck. Okay. They established there's all these parkour guys and stuff at the fraternity. The beginning of the movie is showing these guys with different skill sets at the fraternity and how they can contribute to this prank, this Halloween prank.
Okay.
And basically, it turns out that they all just had what the one guy had who could do hardcore parkour. They just all did hardcore parkour. They just did parkour.
Not even hardcore parkour.
Not even hardcore.
My God.
So you got all these like flipping fraternity guys in like zombie costumes, and they tried to like scare them into this church. They, you know, the Medea and everybody, Medea and everybody else. Fuck. Medea and they scare them into this church, and from there, I can't even remember. And then they decide to get back at them when they find out that it was just a bunch of kids. And I was thinking like maybe it was going to turn out to actually be zombies, you know, because this is a Halloween movie. And it wasn't like that. It just turned out there's all these shitty messages in the movie, like there's so much to talk about, and I can't focus on anything. They can we just both do this when it's your turn, or do I have to finish this?
Just finish.
Okay.
Just finish this one thought. Yeah. Just finish this one thought, and then when it gets to me, we'll pick it up.
The ending of it is like they decide to turn it around, and they get like all of these. They make them think that they're going to be arrested because they killed somebody, but just used makeup effects on, and they put them in the bus to be taken off to prison. And it turns out that they weren't real police who arrested them. It was just the Medea crew, and that they're not. And then basically it turns out that they really are criminals or something, to the people that they hired to be cops or something. It was so fucking weird. This movie was so hard to wrap my mind around. How do they do this? How do you write a movie like this? I don't.
Am I gonna have to do the?
No, I'm getting.
I need a bullet point. I need a fucking. I need this. I need the Seagal bullet point up here to do this. Okay, like. I can't do this.
To be continued.
I can't do this.
To be continued.
Let me put it this way. The only thing that saved this movie from being higher up there is Lexi Pantera. That's it. There was a twerk scene in here. That's the only thing that was remotely worth seeing in this video. Well done, Lexi.
There was a twerk scene.
You have built an empire on 2 bones. Congratulations. Well, 3 bones.
Count them.
Yes. Very good.
It's a joke about his pee-pee.
Number 4. Now I know for the best of, I kind of dumped a lot of the artsy-fartsy into this list. A bit more than these guys here. It goes both ways. Because number 4 for me is among the artsiest of the fartsiest. Number 4 is...
Artsy Cola.
Is The Birth of a Nation.
Oh!
Oh, yes.
Oh. You thought I was overstepping some bounds with that crack.
I am not going into the context of this movie or its production or its lead star. That is, as much as I want to say it's completely irrelevant, sure, it colors perception, it taints the perception of the movie, sure. But primarily, this movie was billed and designed and produced to be a disruptor. It was a force for an epic reversal of the Hollywood status quo. Status quo. It was designed to bring a new era into Hollywood. It released, and it's Slaveheart. It's just Slaveheart. It's a movie we've seen multiple times. It is a based on true event story where there's elaborate points added for no reason other than to make the main figure messianic. It is a drawn out, overlong piece of writer, director, producer, star masturbation all over the screen to no effect, no one's enjoyment except for the person whose name is most on the poster. It is just simply inane and dull and boring. And yes, there is some great ruminating scenes where the point-to-point life of a slave is laid bare on the screen, but there's also points in time where the camera zooms in and slows down to paint a tableau of torture and awfulness, and basically saying the point wasn't awful. And you're kind of sitting in the theater going, yeah, we kind of knew that. And yes, we got the fact that the white little girl is hopping along with her black slave girlfriend with a noose around her neck behind her like a dog. We get it. We cut to a new shot. And it goes on like this. There's so many extended scenes where it's like, this is what you like. This is what will get me an Oscar. This is how you show dramatic, historical things. And it's just wank. It's Oscar wank that will not even get a nomination for an Oscar. It's Slaveheart.
Sort of like that scene in Django Unchained when, Django is, got one of the slave runners in his iron sights and he shoots him and blood right on the cotton.
Without that without that Tarantino flair and without that
I just want
delightfulness, that edge to it.
When that scene happened, I just want Tarantino to just kind of pop his head into frame a little bit and just point to the blood. You see that?
Symbolic. It's supposed to mean something. Stretch that out over 2 hours with a much less accomplished actor, director, writer, producer, star, and you have Slaveheart, Birth of a Nation.
You're owning that one, my main man. You are owning that one.
These worms be tasty.
Number 4. I'm going to share some of that worms for you.
Sure. Here we go.
Number 4. Ghostbusters.
Oh!
All right.
Do I need to leave? Is this going to be a dangerous area?
Testify, brother.
Ghostbusters. I instead of puking all over this movie, as we did in our longest Sage versus on a single movie we've ever done.
Was it really?
It was like an hour and 15. It was an hour and 15. It was just... It was unnecessarily long when you really break it down, but I want to instead lead it off with this little anecdote. I was at Christmas with my uncles.
With your uncles?
With my aunt and uncles. And then my cousin brings his kids along, and we're all having some fun, and then my cousin asked me, did you see any movies this year? And it's like, boy, I've seen some movies. But he's around it my 12 and 10-year-old second cousin. So I'm just going, yeah, I saw some movies. And he said, what did you see? And then my 12-year-old second cousin just asked me, did you see Ant-Man? And it's like, no, I didn't see Ant-Man. It's like, oh, did you see Captain America? It's like, yeah, I saw Captain America. It was really nice. And then I just try to think of other blockbusters that they've probably seen. It's like, did you see Guardians of the Galaxy? And it's like, yeah, we love Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, okay, good. So did you see Ghostbusters? And then my little 10-year-old second cousin, she pipes in and she's like, I didn't like Ghostbusters. Okay. And it was like a little tear in my and it was just like, you go, little girl.
You're going to turn out okay. You're going to be the one that makes it.
Demand better. Do not settle for what Hollywood thinks you deserve. Do not settle.
That's beautiful, Ben.
It's beautiful, man.
That's beautiful.
But it really was just that kind of resonance, that little moment really resonates with me because I see so much goddamn hype around that movie still today about, Ghostbusters isn't for, the adult fans. It's for these little girl fans. Well, then comes this little girl who didn't like the fucking movie because it was a dumb, stupid comedy that just wasn't going to say they liked the movie just because it had women in it. Movies don't work that way. Kids latch on to characters from movies because they identify with them, not because they're just similar to them. How many kids thought they were Han Solo when they watched Star Wars? Not because, Han Solo, Leia or whatever. The point being is that this movie was riding so goddamn hard and tried to divide the internet so damn hard because that's how you can make money in Hollywood with a divisive fan base, and then paint one side as the lunatic fringe.
Lunatic fringe?
Mm-hmm. To borrow a classic rock phrase. To paint the other side as the lunatic fringe, and all you're wound up with is this dumb Adam Sandler comedy.
Ooh. Them some mighty big words.
Yeah, and true.
Dumb Adam Sandler comedy, chock full of product placement and unbelievably awful bits of action scenes.
Boom, JB, boom!
This was obnoxious. This was unfunny.
How you doing?
The plot made no goddamn sense.
How you doing?
The villain was barely there at all.
How you doing?
And the whole exercise is a depressing exercise of just Hollywood by committee.
How you doing?
It's just like Sony's losing a lot of money. Spider-Man ain't making us some money. Guess we could always make another Ghostbusters movie. Why do we make it we're all chicks and then we'll try to make it so that anyone who doesn't like it is a sexist? And then it just happened.
And it fucking worked. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
90 fucking...
Not the people who enjoyed the movie despite it being bad, but the people who got upset with people who didn't enjoy the movie and claimed it was because they were sexist. Come on.
Also points of fuck you to those stalwart Ghostbusters fans that disguise their actual hatred of hating that this movie was all women by saying, "Oh no, it shed on the Ghostbusters legacy," which from what you say, it did. But there was also a flip side to that coin.
Yeah, so not to say that
it made almost all the internet its worst self.
Like I said,
or a worse version of itself.
This movie made no one look good. Not the people in it, not the people who wrote it, not the people who released it, not the people who argue incessantly over the coming months before and after it was released. It was just a black stain on cinematic history, in all sense of the word. Mm. And it's my number 4.
Let me fish out my phone.
We getting up there.
Did you lose your phone?
Yeah, I lose my phone.
Oh, we lost the list.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, okay.
Let's save.
I got a little upset talking about Nadia.
Yeah. Number 4 on Gabe's list of shit.
When a twerk scene's the best scene in your movie because something happens. Yeah. That's a testament.
Number 4.
Number 4 is Risen.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm glad I didn't see this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything to add to the boring nothingness that was that movie?
It was long. It was boring. I'm not religious. It wasn't Noah. I guess it was trying to be Noah.
In a weird way.
But the Christian crowd we had was nice. They were a good crowd. I'm trying not to hate this movie just because I'm not religious and I don't give a shit, but I wanted to see him, walk across my swimming pool.
You wanted him to hey, where are the loaves? Coming at you,
Pretty sure that's pre-resurrection. All that's pre-resurrection. Pretty sure the only thing Jesus does once he resurrects is ascend to heaven.
Well, that's pretty boring, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's what this movie was.
This is 16 years removed from Sunday school, but that's what I remember. Mm-hmm. Please tell me at length how I'm wrong in the comments.
Anything else?
It could have used Seamus and a twerk scene.
Seamus twerking.
Even better.
I don't know.
There you go. What's more to be said?
I'm thinking about Seamus twerking.
Oh, don't. Yes. Shit, now... Damn it. We need 2. All right. Change the subject!
Number 3. I don't want to make this man any happier than he is, but this is vindication. No, to both of these gentlemen here. And this is where I'm going to draw the rest from our well that you were called on here of bad improv making up the bulk of the movie. Going to take all that, put it over here, because we're making a stew out of number 3 for me, Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising.
Oh, yeah! Movie we, did see.
We didn't see because we knew better and we were smart.
You didn't
we're
see
gonna
it
be
because you
beaten
walked
again?
out of the first Neighbors. Keep in mind, I still like the first Neighbors.
Yeah, keep in mind you're still wrong. And Neighbors is the only film, in case you didn't see that, or see the next review where we talk about that, that's the only film that ever beat us.
Yep, we just walked out of that movie.
How long did we last? 10 minutes?
30 minutes. We last
30 minutes?
20.
That's how long? No.
20-0.
It was 20. It
20
was
You told me 20.
Yeah, 20 minutes. It was we walked out during the scene where...
minutes turned to hours to...
Yeah.
Hours to days, days to weeks.
We walked out of the movie at the point where Seth Rogen and handsome guy, what's his name?
Oh, Zac Efron?
Zac Efron were trading Batman impressions.
That's pretty like 15, 20. But for Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising, no real evolution in the mechanics involved in terms of the types of jokes they're telling, and characters get to the next stage of their life but aren't really different human beings. And first, I don't know how it went so sour. Just because I went back to the first Neighbors. Still funny. I can still enjoy it. Not my favorite comedy ever, not even remotely close, but a funny little comedy. I cannot for the life of me deduce what the change in the formula was that to make this so trite, flat, lifeless, stale comedy. It wasn't the addition of Hit Girl, Chloe Grace Moretz. It was slightly the addition of Selena Gomez, where they tried to be The Big Short for 2 seconds. Very
The
weird.
Big Short.
Yes. It is. I don't know how much of a script there was, but whatever it was sad, and it was just a flat flick. And that's why it's probably so high. It's just confusing how the drop can be so steep. A little steeper drop next, but a very steep drop between flicks. Enjoy, revel in the vindication, please. You haven't done enough already.
Hey, I take no pleasure in being right.
All right. Number 3 for me, I know it's not on yours, and I know it's not on yours, mainly because you didn't see it. You didn't see it, but number 3 is the only movie that I winced through. That this was painful.
Give me a little.
Yeah, we knew this was coming.
I like how bad. Show me on the scale of 1. How about the win?
This was the big one for. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's James Ellsworth.
Number 3, it's
Any man with 2 hands can give a thumbs down.
Number 3, it's Keanu.
Oh.
If you want to get me on your bad side, just have your entire movie's comedic premise be guys pretending to be something that they're not. Because guess what? That shit gets old real quick. So, it's Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele pretending to be your stereotypical thugs when they're just suburban black guys.
It's a joke they ran out of material for in the 3rd season of their 5-season show.
Exactly. That's the entire premise of the movie. That and they're going after a kitten that is so cute. This kitten is like the girl in the Neon Demon. Everyone wants this cat, and points to the cat. It was a cute little thing, and that the cat was easily the best part of the movie. But
And for a cat hater, that's something.
yeah, well, the
Cat hater.
Listen, I don't hate from ignorance. All right, I raised my share of cats. I know how selfish they can be, and I know how shitty they can be. But that's not that. This is this. Keanu is the most wince-inducing, most unfunny, just tightening of the abdominal muscles, just movie experience of my life. I have never seen a movie where
He is not exaggerating.
I had to watch the movie like this.
He literally had to watch the movie like that.
Wow.
God.
I mean, I really was. I had to keep checking him to make sure he was all right. Like, do we need to leave the theater? Is it too scary?
It was so unfucking uncomfortable and dry. And just I was hoping against hope that it would just end. And I felt after I left that movie theater like I just gave birth to an accountant. I pulled a Rodney Dangerfield. Ugh. The worst comedy of the year. No, wait. I take that back. I still got a few more comedies ahead of
Oh, okay. That tells me.
Comedies.
The most knuckle-breaking air quotes imaginable.
But that was the one, like, through no fault of the theater itself, that movie was pain and pain again.
It's okay. You're beyond it now. It's over.
Yeah, that movie can't hurt me no more. And
Hurry.
point of order here.
Point of order.
How sad is it that movie is now the last little bit of George Michael we get?
Oh no! You didn't know.
Oh, you had to.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yipes.
Yeah, that's his. And
That's Raul Julia level.
yeah, that was. And I read an article like after the movie was released where George Michael's agent went on the record saying, "Yeah, it's doing wonders for George Michael right now."
Oh.
Didn't do enough, now did it. Sorry.
I'd like to think Deadpool did more wonders.
But just...
Yeah, poor Ryan Reynolds right now.
Right.
What?
What?
He's a big fan.
Oh, George Michael.
Careless Whisper. He's gone on record saying that was his favorite band.
No, Careless Whisper.
Well,
yeah,
was Wham.
Yeah.
Wham.
Yeah,
Oh.
George Michael was in Wham. So.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay.
I was clarifying whether Ryan Reynolds thought Wham or George Michael was his favorite band.
Well,
Well, he said Wham.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
number 2, no, 3. Right?
3 from Gabe.
3 from Gabe.
All right. 3 for me was Sully.
Oh, Sully. Wow.
Wow.
That's mighty high.
Yeah.
That's about as
Well,
high
you-
as that plane was.
So.
That was awful. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
I'm really sorry for that joke.
So,
Ow.
I'm sorry I had to see the movie. Sully was the longest, shortest movie I've ever been through, I think, ever. Ever. This movie was basically Back and to the Left, the movie.
That's an old
Like,
critic reference.
I'm sure there is a Back and to the Left loop on YouTube somewhere that you could watch instead of this.
And I'm pretty sure there's one at least 90 minutes long if they haven't done it for 10 hours. It is YouTube.
So, Tom Hanks gets through the movie by basically having to... I'm sorry, Sully, if that's really how boring you are for a man who saved so many people in a heroic... in a great heroic feat. We can't win them all. Some people just need to have a mouthpiece. And this didn't... Not to mention that this happened, 10 years?
No, it happened in 2009, January
Okay.
2009, so it would have been 8 years ago.
It was
this
like
month.
8 years ago, and for some reason they decided to make it now. It felt like something that should have been free, like something that should have been viewed in school.
Not even that.
Like can we do math? No, you gotta watch Sully. It's required viewing.
Watch an American Hero.
This movie was really boring.
I'm
They
getting that vibe.
and I can sum it up. They had a simulation of the flight. Okay, the beginning of the movie shows you what happens, what actually happens in the plane, like leading up to it, or the actual event itself, taking the landing of the plane, the people getting off the plane. Although there was this one moment where he's looking at the river that he has to land on, that he's going to have to land on, and he's just kind of looking at it, and he's like, the river looks mighty beautiful today. And I'm just like, oh, is this gonna be like a creative Liberty movie or like a what it could have been movie? Like he's gonna, like for some reason he just really wanted to be on that river.
So he just...
And he's just like, we gotta land the plane. It's like, well, we could do a loop back to there. No, we don't got enough fuel left.
Like, sir, there's nothing wrong with the plane. I sir.
And he's like drawing, like, I'm gonna draw the wheels onto the plane with my imagination, and that will work because I saw, I saw the Twilight Zone, but it didn't turn out to be that movie. It turned out to be basically so you get to the simulations, and you have to watch what you already saw for like a good 15 minutes, and you have to watch the same fucking scene 3 more times because they have to go through it first time, and then they have to say allow this much time the second time for human error. So then you have to watch it again. And then it's like, let's see it with funny pirate hats on. So you have to see it again. What if he would have shaved before getting on the plane? How would that change it? And that's half your fucking movie. And nobody died. There was no injuries or anything. There was no... You see a guy swimming away in the wrong direction like he's gonna drown or freeze to death or something, and nobody even has to like do anything to save him. He just finds his way back. He just, oh, I'm going the wrong direction. Better go back to the plane now.
Where the fuck are you going?
You should be ashamed this is not higher on your list or on your list at all. Fuck Sully! The movie, not the man. The movie. I'm sure he deserved better.
I think we're going to preemptively cut it there. Bye, everybody. Till next time.
And that's your number 3. Oh, man. Oh.
Take it away. Take it
No,
away.
Okay.
hold on, before you say anything, I gotta say my piece on Sully. The reason why Sully isn't on my list was mainly because the other movies, I can remember what happened in Sully. I can't remember
Because you saw it 4 times, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's sheer brute force repetition. I can remember what happened in that movie.
Oh, you bet there's repetition in that fucking movie.
But if you ask me, like, point blankly, what would you rather see again, Sully or Huntsman Winter's War? I'd rather see Sully again.
Why? Because you're having trouble sleeping?
I just do. I guess so. I guess I can look at the movie's performances, or rather, Tom Hanks is at least inoffensive in the movie.
Oh, it's
That's not
inoffensive.
I
His
can't.
performance was very inoffensive, considering it was about an American hero. Great job, Tom Hanks.
Consider it my Phantom 11th. All right, it's my 11th pick. I just couldn't muster up any real hatred like you could for Sully. Holy Christ, I've never seen you so passionate about a hateful movie. And it's your number 3?
It should be your... anything.
I judge...
Talk about wasting your time.
I didn't see it.
Like, I think Stalkers had more going on than this film.
Wow.
And most of the, and they have like an entire 10-minute scene watching the back of some guy's head.
It's true.
Okay.
Number 2, Gavin.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that, or indeed how you are going to follow that, but number two wounded me. Ruined me right in the fandom. Because it ruined you a little bit in the fandom, too. Not you so much in the fandom, because you can separate. But there is not a comedy amongst our little friend crew that is so beloved, so endlessly quotable, so endlessly rewatchable, so beloved in our minds, both in young adulthood and current adulthood, as Zoolander. And Zoolander had a sequel this year.
Oh! Is that the movie you forgot?
That's the one. Thank you, Gavin, for
That's what I'm
reminding me
here
about
for.
the thing that I've managed to banish from my mind.
Yes!
Zoolander, you know what you
Yes!
get? You know what happens when you fuck up a sequel? When you find a man in the Alps? Zoolander, you're on the list!
It was just as funny the first time.
Put in my passcode and write you on.
So is this now the Phantom 11th and the one that was before?
How did I not? I am going to put you in all caps.
Here's the primer on us 3 and a few more friends on Zoolander. I would put down money that all of us can quote not the movie, not the ads for the movie, but the running audio track when you boot up the DVD main menu page Among Us. We can quote you clips from that. We love that movie. And the sequel was a cash-in, and you think, oh, plenty of movies come 10 years, 15 years out and make a cash-in. They're all terrible. Yes. But this was the same team, this was the same people, and they didn't care. No care whatsoever. The first movie won over its cult status by tenacity and by the enamel of their teeth biting into the beginning of the century and not letting go in people's minds. This movie earned a kind of cult status that you just don't see movies trying for here. And I should have known. I should have known the shit was coming because I picked up the Blu-ray of Zoolander because they put out a fancy one with a preview of the movie, and they didn't have a running funny audio track from Derek Zoolander on the main menu. They didn't even take the one from the DVD. This was a cash-in. And they added even more funny people to this. More funny people here. Benedict Cumberbatch being a thing. It was in it. And I think it was Kristen Wiig was in it. And I've never seen her less funny. I didn't see Ghostbusters, but I've never seen her less funny. I've never seen so many funny people in the roles that they are funny, even if they're normally not funny, not being funny. There was precisely one line in the movie that was funny. It was a throwaway line. We all chuckled. We moved on. Proceeded with the suck. It feels like there was a bet by Ben Stiller and company to reassemble a crew and put out a movie being as unfunny as they physically possibly can be. And that is Zoolander Part 2, the second Zoolander 2.
Boolander.
Yes.
So now that Zoolander 2's specter has been raised,
Zooslander.
What place would you put Zoolander 2 on your list? Dishonorable mentions or?
Well, you know what? This kicks Suicide Squad off the list.
Wow.
That was my number 10.
So wow,
But everything else has to go down now.
Where's Zoolander fallen?
Okay. I tell you what. I will finish the rest of my list, and then I'll tell you where it is, so that I can tell you where I put it between.
Okay.
That means we need a number 2 from Benito.
Number 2 from me was a comedy you already brought up, but I hated more than you. And that was 50 Shades of Black.
Oh.
And
okay.
Oh, I hated that movie way more than you. Actually, even after the fact, because after Florence Henderson died, that's the last movie she made.
Crapes.
Oh.
Now that's her lasting legacy. That's
not her lasting legacy.
Well,
that's the last of her legacy.
That's the last of her legacy is her literally riding over Marlon Wayans. Marlon Damon. I can't get the Wayans brothers straight. The Wayans brothers literally slapping him in the face. It's like, come on, is that faster or am I speeding or am I slowing?
She was in a Whiplash reference?
Yes, she was in a Whiplash reference.
Oh, wow.
And the rhythm of it is literally her fucking him, and he's crying. It's like, am I faster or slower? Tell me, Black! Am I faster or slower?
Oh.
That is that movie. It's this unfunny, racist humor over and over and over fucking again and again. I hated it when it started. I hated it when it ended. And it actually really annoys me that I hated this movie more than you did. That actually really does kind of piss me off because the whole setup of going to that movie
was to make me unhappy.
Yes, was to make him unhappy, and now I'm unhappier than him. And
see,
now
that should teach you a strong moral lesson.
I gotta troll harder.
Yes.
What? I gotta troll harder. Gotta troll harder.
Speaking of something I dodged.
But no, I still got a little bit more left in me for fucking 50 Shades of Black. All right. I'll put it to you like this.
If I ever have to resuscitate you when you're old and dying, just be like 50 Shades of Black. Won't be the last thing I.
Well, don't.
50 Shades of Black. Miles Teller. 50 Shades of Black. With sheer hate and vitriol, he shall live again.
Okay. Let me focus. 50 Shades of Black. I hate it most of all because it, like the other movie on my list that has yet to be mentioned, makes it really, really fucking hard to hate on this movie for reasons that should be obvious. And it's reasons, the reason why I brought it up with Florence Henderson. It just feels like every movie that comes out with a black audience in mind gets like this special pass. It's like, well, it wasn't made for a white audience. So, fuck you! Fuck you! You know what you're doing by saying that? You're saying that black people like dumb shit. That's what you're saying. And that is awful.
They also get a free pass because they can consistently turn a profit on cheap budgets.
That is just fucking disgraceful. It is insulting to black people, certainly, but to everyone who just pays a ticket to go see a movie. It's just fucking atrocious. So, if you happen to like this movie, I guess you can just take from what I just said and say, like, you're stupid for liking this. I guess it's kind of hard for me to defend that. I mean, like, I don't want anyone to feel like they're stupid for liking anything, but there are certain things that when you say you like them, you know you're going to get some sideways glances. Saying that you like 50 Shades of Black, as well as 50 Shades of Grey, let's be clear here. Will definitely color people's perceptions of you. But if you ask,
it's not an opener when you're going on a date or
no,
don't put it in your profile on Tinder.
But if you ask me point blankly, what was the worst movie, 50 Shades of Grey or 50 Shades of Black?
Ooh.
I'd say 50 Shades of Grey was the worst movie because at least 50 Shades of Black had an identity. It was a dumb fucking
and it's
stupid.
not going to be remembered
it's like
the way that 50 Shades of Grey has, and it's not going to be spreading that warped message out the way 50 Shades of Grey was.
Yeah, so like it's at best it's a failed parody of it. It should be shooting ducks, fish in a barrel rather.
Belongs at the bottom of all those other failed parodies. Those movies and whatnot, just right at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Movie 43 quality gags.
Yep.
Just fucking pissed me off. Number 2, Gabe.
Okay, so this was all our number 3 that we just, or number 2 that we just did. But I know my last one was Sully. That was my number 3. My number 2 is Zoolander.
Ooh.
And here's why. It doesn't deserve to be number 1 on any list. Zoolander gets to be number 2, just like the title. That's all I have to say about that. No, it's not. That's not all I have to say about that. Okay, Zoolander. Zoolander is my favorite comedy of all time. I fucking love Zoolander. It is brilliant. It's like an entrepreneur of its kind of comedy almost. It started a whole bunch of stuff that was replicated later by the other things, and people do, and it's also very under-recognized. Like it amazes me how many people either didn't like the film or like didn't see the film. And it's really sad for me because of how much comedy I squeezed out of that movie with these guys right here and John. Every single day had a Zoolander reference in it somewhere. It was inevitable. I still do, constantly. Like, every time I have a brain fart, it's like, am I on crazy pills? It's just so easy to reference. Kind of like in the fashion of Airplane or any other brilliant comedy. And I knew a sequel to this would be really hard to do with to hit lightning twice. And everything in Zoolander 1. I want to talk about Zoolander 1.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Zoolander 1?
No.
Zoolander 1 was amazing.
It was.
Every single person brought their A game. It was like the Lord of the Rings of comedy.
Wow.
But one film. and
so this, superior than Lord of the Rings.
And this was like Zoolander's The Hobbit.
I like The Hobbit more than I like Zoolander too.
Okay, that's actually being harsh. This was really bad. The Hobbit would have had to be like worse than episode 1, 2, and 3 level.
Yeah.
To be an actual representation, to be a it starts off well enough to give you just enough hope that it's going to be good.
Yes.
You're like, okay, it's Billy Zane. He's back. And the trailer shows Mugatu. The trailer actually looked like it could be good. Yeah. Mugatu's got his buff suit on, and he's like, prison changed me! Like, Magic Mike-ing it off. And it was, and then the movie just go to show that the trailer was just masterfully edited.
Yep.
to make it look good. They changed all the scenes to make good scenes. Whoever edited the trailer was, really good and probably really maybe should have had more to do with the movie than just editing. Or should have edited the movie, or should have... I felt like whoever did the trailer really liked the first film. And it just, it let down so hard. It was like going back to, it was like going back to old jokes from the first film. And trying to... Trying to hit them
Precisely.
over again.
It was trying to up the first film in the exact type of jokes the first film did.
And that was like the greatest fear of what this could be, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
I hope there is never a 3.
No, it bombed.
It ended in the way that there shouldn't be, that it couldn't be a 3.
But it bombed.
It bombed.
Yeah, thankfully.
It is so sad. I hope that people don't remember Zoolander for this, and that they remember for 1.
Please go see it.
And I'll put it to rest there, because this is already one more than my list is supposed to have on it. Mm-hmm. But thank you for reminding me, I guess.
So is it that Sully being 3 is now 4, and what used to be 2 is now 3?
Yeah.
So what's now your new number 3?
Or my new number 3 is now Allegiant.
Oh!
Yeah. And I was really surprised that wasn't higher for you.
Jeff Daniels, man.
Really? That was enough?
It was enough for me to at least look at that and just be like, it was dull and wasted my goddamn time. But it didn't make me how bored it was making me like the first movie did.
Jeff Daniels saves a lot of things. He saved the newsroom for me. He saved a lot of Steve Jobs for me. Yeah, he
did not have enough time in this movie.
He's like a white mage of acting. Just like heals parts of the movies he's near.
Like the more, like, a lot of these movies...
Cauterizes in this.
Yeah, a lot of these movies, like, I was just fucking bored with. But the further down the list, the more bored they made me, the more angrier they made me. So this was just, run-of-the-mill boredom, which made the list, thankfully, but not thankfully.
What did it for me is it's a part of this disgusting Hunger Games wannabe shitfest.
The young adult bonanza of film production.
As much as I love seeing you be upset about Miles Teller, I don't like Miles Teller. I'm not stupid.
I liked him in a movie, but apparently it was all Damien Giselle.
Like, he was great in Whiplash because
J.K. Simmons was smacking him the entire time.
Because J.K. Simmons smacked the acting into him.
Yeah, pretty much. It seems that way.
And
he's apparently an asshole, so there you go.
So what did it for me is like thinking about this list. It's like, what would you want to have? What would you have if you had to watch? Gun to your head, you had to watch it again. This is what you, we decided would be the basis basically for the list. Is that like if you have to watch it again, which one do you want to have to watch? I don't want to watch this again because I can't remember like anything that happened except for the bubble scene, where they're like transported in these little bubbles, like actual inventory bubbles. That's what I remember from the film because that was the only part I could laugh at. And it was long. It was still long, like all the other ones. It was like, what was it? Still 2 hours?
2.5 hours?
2.5 hours. Oh, I don't want to go through 2.5 hours of this shit. It's the threequel. It's the threequel to Divergent. How is this not higher on your list? Did it get better with sequels?
At least shit happened.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could say it's better than the first one.
I couldn't muster up that anger that I could with the first one, and the rest of the other movies, I could muster up anger for. And that always, like, as much as I hate being bored, I hate being angered more. And sometimes things can bore me into anger, and that's the worst, but all of these movies made me more angry than Allegiant.
2.5 hours of this that is just time you could be doing anything else with, and that's why it's on my list at number 3.
Gavin?
Okay.
So are we officially in number 1 territory now?
We are in number 1 territory.
Last of it. I believe Gabe and I, despite all the shuffling, have the same number 1.
Oh, really?
I believe so. I am not, however, confident enough to do the countdown.
We do.
You do?
We do.
Okay.
We have the same number one.
All right, let's do a countdown then, if we will.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Bennett, if you please.
3, 2, 1.
Yoga Hosers! Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yoga Hosers.
All right, we had our moment, man.
Yeah. Let me begin, if you will. Thank you very much.
And the universe contracts.
Yoga Hosers. Oh, Kevin Smith. Oh, how do I begin? A failure on every level of filmmaking. You don't get that often.
And I'm pretty sure some other things that aren't even film related.
Yes, absolutely.
Like humanity.
A detriment on every actor in here, and they cast some wonderful actors in bit roles here that you just... It's kind of like, what was it? If you like, or even don't like a Love Actually, and you see all these characters come in, it's like, oh, you're in this movie. I look forward to seeing what happens with you. Oh, you're in this movie too. This movie has everyone. In Yoga Hosers, you're watching these bit actors you recognize from somewhere, and you're like, oh no, what did they do to get you? Like it's like they're walking into a prison yard, and they're walking into a firing range of a movie, and you're just like, no, I know you don't have enough of a resume to survive this movie. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I pray for you at night. I pray for you at night.
I have a message for Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith, learn from other movies that did the same thing. Like, I'm going to make a movie for my daughter. I'm going to make a movie for my daughter. Or maybe she can write the script or something, right?
Yep.
That's not a good idea. It's a bad idea. Learn from other movies, like Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Watch that movie, learn from it, and make a better film. Because that was way fucking better.
Here's the... I will dovetail on that one. Why this is so high on my list. It is unfunny, but yes, it is simple, harmless. It's good. It's just happy, fun times with your daughter. You're using the fact that you crafted. You're using your entire daughter's demographic here of teenage girls, tween girls, to excuse your failure as a filmmaker. And I know you've made a career of going around the country and the world now, speaking extemporaneously for 2 hours on these live at Kevin Smith's on how you fail as a filmmaker. But that doesn't mean you have to keep producing film. You have enough... You talk about loving podcasting more than making movies. You keep talking about how your career is taking so many different directions, and yet you still, for some reason... put yourself through raising these funds of a couple $1 million and prostrating yourself against your fan base, your dwindling fan base, to try and put out these fun little experiments like, oh, I read a news story on a podcast. I'm going to make a movie on that. No, stop it. And you're dragging in Ralph Garman, who hasn't had a good enough chance to have a career yet, and you're just going to further smack him down into the earth with this wretched half hour. And I'll let you be the sole speaker on what I know you want to talk about. I will not even say that. But the fact that you're using tween and teenage girls, an oft-abused demographic when it comes to filmmaking and film production and film releasing, as an excuse for your ineptitude is kind of wrong. It's just simply sick. It's kind of disgusting, really. And I know I loved your work and initially, and I'll still listen to your podcasts, but I don't know why you persist. I honestly have no idea why you would want to keep doing these roadshow pictures for the same people, watching the same kind of movie, giving you the same feedback, never growing despite you trying different genres and moving on without ever learning how to do the fundamentals of each genre. Stop. Just stop. Do you mind if we bunny hop you a little bit? Because Gabe,
I know
Gabe has a little bubble. I'm gonna intro Gabe here with 2 words here.
I know what they are. Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that was the 2.
Been...
Keep it together. No, please don't. That's the entire reason people show
Johnny
up.
Depp, you haven't been relevant since you bumped your head on the set of Pirates of the Caribbean and have been stuck in Jack Sparrow mode. Up until now. You somehow shook it loose. Because now you're just fucking boring.
No, please. Is that it? I know
Your mumblecore performance through this thing with Oh, you got all your prosthetics so you don't look like Johnny Depp anymore, right? See, that doesn't make a character, though. Prosthetics don't make a character. Having big, long nails in a vampire film doesn't make you a vampire. It's about what comes from the inside. It's called acting. You don't get to play dress up and waste our fucking time and money. But here you are doing it because you used to be a good actor. You used to be a great actor. You were incredible. I loved you. I loved you in the Ninth Gate.
Oh, poor man.
It's okay. It's okay.
You were incredible in Fear and Loathing. What happened to you, man? You're like a homunculus of yourself now. What? When you were doing the futter whacking, did they literally did the aliens take your soul during that scene? When did this happen?
I'm just picturing Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter going through the drive-thru, but futter whacking through the drive-thru.
When did it end? When was it over?
When did it begin? Are you okay?
A great man ends with this terrible whimper. He just
And here's why Yoga Hosers is on my list. Above all what I've been saying, is that Kevin Smith is a master at deflecting criticism. By seemingly embracing it, he's like, oh yeah, the movies I make suck, or oh yeah, I can totally see how the critical perspective is awful. But you're able to write it off like you're a master, as if you can tax off, like these tax write-offs of criticism. You can just funnel them away into this part of your brain that no longer functions, and you'll just keep doing it. And despite the entire world telling you how badly you suck at it, you will somehow persist and continue in this kind of delusion. And it's watching Yoga Hosers, Tusk before it, Red State before it, you realize that you're just kind of watching the slowest, saddest midlife crisis turn to stroke.
The worst time of my life started right after Pirates of the Caribbean. That's when I went on my just right off the cart downhill torrent, and it happened, and it seems like there's this parallel of how shitty you became with how shitty my life started getting. You know, not that I blame you for any of it, but it's like you're my Voldemort hidden in the corner, shriveled up of a soul. And every time I look at you, I remember these horrible times I had.
He's your Horcrux.
I was supposed to be a great actor too. You were the person I looked up to.
Oh, man. Man, I thought I was going to get personal with my number one, but Jesus, fuck.
You okay?
And you know what? Peter O'Toole's not around anymore. I'm losing all my heroes. But you're still walking around, aren't you?
Not anymore!
Could someone please call the local Los Angeles security nearest to Johnny Depp, please?
I bet if I say this name Johnny Depp and bomb in the same sentence, no one's gonna give a shit!
You're the TSA. It's like, oh, I bombed Johnny Depp. That's how you cover through and you keep going through. Yeah.
Right, Mr. Mordecai? No one's gonna come to save Mordecai, are they?
No one, just like no one came to see Tusk in Red State. But that's okay, because your fan base will go to it no matter what, and that's a symbol of quality somehow in your dementia.
Oh, boy.
My lord. The funniest thing now in your legacy was giving over something to Chris Bailey, Bailey, to turn into an animated series. And he was smart enough to pull the plug and work on Veep. Or he was smart enough when they pulled the plug to go and work in comedy and wind up on Veep.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, man. I feel better.
oh boy! All right.
I think the people watching can deduce from earlier statements what your number one is, but I do want to give you the runway here and have you
all yours.
build up to the crescendo.
All right.
Please take it away.
If there's one movie I hate more than any other movie I saw this year, it has to be a movie that not only was not funny, when tried to be funny, not only does it have to execute poor filmmaking, which it does, but it also has to assault my sensibilities. Not just as a moviegoer, not just as a film aficionado, but rather as just a plain human being. Boo A Medea Halloween. Not only is it not funny, it's mean-spirited, it is hateful, it's race-baiting as shit, and it makes anyone who defends this movie seem like a drooling idiot. It really fucking does. At the end of the fucking day, how could you look at a movie in which 4 characters sitting in a room for about half the movie for 45 straight fucking minutes talking bullshit, just absolute the unfunniest bullshit you've ever heard, not only be defended but be praised? You could tell that Tyler Perry was a stage actor, a stage producer, and a stage director, because every single one of his fucking movies is just a stage play just filmed, but in the worst possible way. And more to the point, though, the where it gets really fucking hateful, where it gets unnecessarily mean-spirited, is just how determined it is, just absolutely infuriatingly determined it is to try to turn child abuse funny. Where, the character gets, like, the main character gets tossed off.
I was going to bring this up, but I knew you were going to bring this. I knew you were going to
talk about the main character gets, in the past, gets tossed off a roof. And if that wasn't funny enough, his father tossed him off the roof. If that wasn't funny enough, he had a pencil in his pocket, so therefore it pierced through one of his testicles, and it looked like a Tootsie Pop. If that really fucking happened in real life, that guy would have been arrested. Where is the humor in that? I can't,
This is during, like, a 15-minute scene talking about beating your children being
an acceptable,
like a time-honored tradition that's being attacked like Christmas or something.
Yeah, just like we can't. But I will tell you, the most dispiriting thing about that movie is that audience that we saw with it, where it seems like everything in that movie was being applauded and cheered and laughed at, like, you need to beat your kids, and then the 8-year-old girl next to me started applauding. I can't remember in my lifetime anything so chilling as that.
This is why Trump's our president. That is why.
I wouldn't go that far, but it's that...
No, I would go that far. That's how stupid we are. That's how stupid we are.
I wouldn't put that as something as stupid. I would like little girl, does your parents beat you? That's my only thought process to that.
Yeah, you have Child Protective Services dialing on your phone.
Like this little kid is applauding the fact, oh, kids need to get beaten in order to, you gotta learn them straight. You gotta smack them upside the head, or, toss them off a fucking roof. Hope they got a pencil in their pocket, so that way there's genital mutilation to go along with it. And to hear people defend this movie, and to hear people just, it's not meant for a white audience. What are you saying about yourself when you say that? What are you saying? And even if you wanted to let go of that, even if you wanted to say, it's just comedy that doesn't land. Okay, even if you wanted to just compartmentalize that, tuck it away, and try to look at the rest of the movie is a piece of shit too! The rest of the movie is filled with these nonsensical fucking turns that doesn't make a fucking bit of sense. Oh, this guy can hack anything. He could just fucking do anything in the world because he's such a computer whiz. I don't know. Does being a computer whiz mean you can make a mirror fog up and write over it? Because apparently he did that through his magical computer skills. He could hack the plumbing. He could hack the lights. How? We don't know. We're just blatantly told at the beginning of the movie that he could hack anything in the fucking world, and apparently that just means he could do all of that.
Did have a good twerk scene, though.
And at least FouseyTube was in the movie, for all that's worth. YouTuber. And Tyga's in the movie, if you're a Tyga fan, all 4 minutes of it, and that pointless performance of his at the college party. The horrible acting is the horrible acting, the horrible writing, the horrible jokes, the mean-spirited fucking jokes, the borderline racist amount of I won't even go say borderline. I'd say the fucking racist portrayal of Tyler Perry and Tyler Perry as herself, or I don't know how you want to contextualize
Again,
him as Medea.
to be a fly on the wall in those therapy sessions.
Like, you keep flashing back to that episode of the Boondocks where... yeah, remember the Boondocks had a Tyler Perry episode?
Yes. Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah. You flash back to that Tyler Perry episode and just saying, like, just admit that you're gay. Just admit that you're gay. Like, we know that, you know, black people don't exactly have the best history of accepting, you know, homosexuals in their community. And I know that you're scared of that, but... fucking, you're cultivating an audience full of just assholes by just living out this fantasy of yours. For fuck's sake. You're making America worse.
You just couldn't hold it back. It's because it's true.
It's true.
It's because of the lack of education.
It's not the lack of education, it's the glorification of dumb.
Which is exactly what our election was. The glorification of fucktardism.
And let's make one thing clear. Being black doesn't make you stupid.
I'm glad we made that point.
By that point.
Yes.
But when we're railing against stupidity, just because there's a racial tone to it, doesn't mean that liking this makes you stupid. But it does make me question your moral fiber. If you could look at a scene where people describe in great detail a scene of genital mutilation, and your first instinct is to laugh, that makes me question your moral fiber.
At least in the context of this movie, like, there's been a lot of ow my ball jokes throughout the history of comedy, billions of times.
They made a joke about it in Idiocracy.
Exactly, that's what I was referencing, actually.
Yeah.
And, case in point, but in this context, there was no... That's your punchline. That's it.
You just go into great graphic detail about it. His little ball looked like a Tootsie Pop.
You're talking about doing this to a kid, and I know, you know, I'm getting really sick of people using comedy as like this way of saying, of having a fail-safe, of an excuse. That I wasn't really trying to say that as a message. It was funny. It was a joke. But no, it is quite clear watching this film that you are trying to advocate violence against kids. You don't get to just cloak it with humor. Yeah, there's a line drawn somewhere, and this is not over that line. We're calling it.
I am very glad I didn't see this movie. I can't speak to it at all, but you did see it. And I'm very, very glad that my number one is a dumb film that the director just can't understand or accept why it is and scapegoat his daughter's generation.
Yeah, this movie's fucking morally reprehensible.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is that's why I was so surprised that it was only number 5 on yours. Like, this was the only movie that actually kind of offended me.
Oh.
That I don't.
It offended me too. Believe me.
This was just like me as a person, as somebody who tries his best to be a good person, and it cracks his share of bad jokes and cracks his share of, some might say, insensitive jokes. But I know where the joke is. Where is the joke in describing genital mutilation to, what was it, an 8-year-old or 9-year-old kid? Where's the joke in that? Where's the joke in the concept of a dad tossing his son off a roof like he was fucking Hihachi? In fact, that would have been a joke.
When you say yeah.
Like, if they treated it like it was Hihachi, like, you can't be my son until you climb back up. You know, that at least
But they were saying this shit like straight-faced. In that psychopathic look Tyler Perry has, you know, and fucking creepy shit, man.
It's just fucking creepy ass shit. The rest of the movie makes no goddamn sense. It's the most contrived bullshit you could possibly fucking imagine. Just the most pathetic attempts at humor, and the even more despicable attempts to hide deep-seated and really like I almost call it sociopathic, child rearing tendency, or psychopathic child rearing disguised as like homespun wisdom or humor. That is fucking atrocious.
You know, and when you remind me of that, I feel very ashamed of myself for not having it higher up, if not one.
Yeah, I mean
But that was one hell of a twerk scene.
Yeah, you did it. You did it, man. You did it. We pulled through. That was our number one. That was my number one, rather. But that was our top 10 worst of 2016.
Ooh.
We had some... I almost wanted to applaud you during your Sully rant, but holy crap. You know, through that fervent...
You can't write this shit, man.
Nah,
It's got to come from the soul.
it's got to come from the soul, but
From Corazon.
Gavin has to get back to Palo Alto.
There we go.
He has to get back to Palo Alto. I got to get this guy home, and I got to get this video ready for the internet. So, 2017, don't let us down.